Players battle endlessly for territory in the full-dive VR game Destiny Unchained Online, better known as DU. In a world where PvP reigns supreme, one player stands above them all, the feared Red Demon King. The story opens with three players desperately fleeing for their lives. Suddenly, a girl wielding a massive scythe catches up to them and in one swift strike beheads one of the players. The remaining two panic. Damn it, she caught up! Did she come after us alone? Even so, one of them charges at her despite his friend's warning. He thrusts his sword forward, but she calmly blocks it with the shaft of her scythe, knocking his weapon aside. Leaving him completely exposed, she swings again and decapitates him as he begs for mercy. The last survivor freezes in fear and stumbles backward, slipping off a small cliff. This is the worst. No, maybe I can regroup with my friends. Before he can move, a dagger flies through the air and pierces his chest. As his avatar fades away, he realizes the truth. So this is the strongest PvP player, the Red Demon King. A few months earlier, we meet Mangetsu Kurenai stretching in his room. Today's a great day. I knew gaming all night was the secret. His AI assistant immediately reminds him how long he's been playing. Kurenai brushes it off, claiming he barely plays, while the AI argues he's been gaming far too much. When the AI asks if he has anything more important to do, Kurenai scoffs, saying it's awfully noisy for an AI. He confidently explains that he's already secured a recommendation for high school, so he has nothing to worry about. Then the AI drops a bombshell. You have an appointment at 11 o'clock, and it's already 11. What? Kurenai rushes out the door, asking why the AI didn't warn him sooner. The AI calmly reminds him that he disabled the notifications because he was too absorbed in his game. As he sprints outside, Kurenai explains that he's a tester for a brand new game and can't afford to be late. The AI sighs. Another game. Still, Kurenai is excited. After all, this new game was created by his father. Not long after, he arrives at his dad's office, apologizing for being late because he got too caught up gaming. His father simply smiles and tells him it's fine to enjoy games, as long as it's in moderation. Kurenai's father, Mangetsu Sora, is the lead programmer and hardware designer behind Destiny Unchained Online. Kurenai hands him the lunch and spare clothes he forgot, jokingly asking if he's planning to sleep at the office again. Noticing how exhausted he looks, Kurenai asks if he pulled another all-nighter, but Sora brushes it off and gets straight to business. Today marks the official launch of Destiny Unchained Online, and Kurenai has been chosen as one of its testers. Looking at the game's poster, Kurenai laughs. It's kinda weird playing a game made by your own family. Sora smiles and asks if Kurenai can handle a PvP-focused game where skill means everything. Are you kidding? I'm more excited than ever. Instead of the standard headset, Sora reveals a newly developed capsule designed exclusively for DUO. Using regenerative gel and a human interface, it recreates all 5 senses with near-perfect realism. Kurenai jokes that using something this advanced feels like cheating, but Sora assures him it's only for testing. When Kurenai asks what his objective is, Sora gives a simple answer: play however you want. DUO is all about PvP. You're good at that, so why not aim to become the strongest? Kurenai awkwardly laughs, but Sora teases him by bringing up his embarrassing past, reminding him how he used to grind PvP games every day, and even declared he'd become the greatest, or rather the worst, PvP gamer. Embarrassed, Kurenai quickly tells him to stop. As Kurenai prepares to enter the capsule, Sora suddenly apologizes for always making him help with work. Kurenai is caught off guard. Why apologize? I help because I want to. I've always looked forward to the games you make. Reassured, Sora mentions Kurenai's mother. Kurenai says nothing has changed, they still rarely see each other, and he wouldn't even know how to react if she suddenly came back. Sora then reveals something unexpected. Kurenai, this game is something your mother and I created for you. For me? Mom too? Sora apologizes for neglecting him over the years, explaining that DUO holds a special meaning for him. I just want you to enjoy it. And if you ever lose your way, choose the path you truly believe in. With those words, the capsule activates. As Kurenai logs in, he wonders,
The ultimate full dive game? Aiming to become the strongest? And what are mom and dad trying to tell me through all of this? I want to find out.
As Kurenai snaps out of his thoughts, he finds himself in a completely different place. Beneath a star-filled sky, a goddess stands before him. Welcome to Destiny Unchained Online. Please enter your name. Excited to see an AI guide, Kurenai registers the name Krim, short for Crimson, the meaning of his own name. The goddess begins the character creation, introducing 6 playable races, but suddenly the menu glitches. A bug on launch day? Seriously? A notification appears. A unique factor has been detected. A peculiar race has been unlocked. A new character appears, a naked white-haired girl with crimson eyes. A girl? And why is she naked? The race is Noble Red, the ancestor of all vampires. It specializes in swordplay and magic, with a unique blood magic skill powered by the user's own blood, which must be replenished by drinking others. As a vegetarian, Kurenai is immediately put off. I'm not exactly comfortable sucking blood. The goddess explains he can simply avoid using blood magic, making Kurenai wonder what the point would be. She then reveals the race's drawbacks. Pure-blood vampires die after just 20 seconds in direct sunlight, while half-bloods only suffer a 20% stat reduction. Choosing the safer option, Kurenai becomes a half-blood. He also accepts several classic vampire weaknesses in exchange for extra stat points. He spends a long time perfecting his build, focusing on speed and firepower while carefully selecting his skills and weapons. By the time he's finished, he turns back to the goddess, only to find she'd fallen asleep from waiting so long. Kurenai knows he shouldn't waste any more time. Other players have already started the game. Although he wants to try other races, he can't shake the feeling that he's drawn to the vampire race. Remembering his father's advice, if you're ever unsure, choose what honestly feels right, he makes one last check. The avatar being a girl is just a display bug, right? The goddess confirms that players can't change their real-life gender, leaving Kurenai relieved. A male vampire. That's pretty cool. Confidently, he locks in Noble Red. As he logs in, his body begins to transform. Opening his eyes, Krim is amazed by the full dive experience, able to smell the earth, flowers, and fresh air. Feeling the ground beneath him, he realizes he's standing in ancient ruins. Then he hears his own voice. It's much higher than it should be. After checking his reflection, he freezes. What? I'm a girl after all? So much for the display bug. Out of disbelief, she even pokes her chest to confirm it's real. Dad, what did you do? A communication crystal suddenly activates with Sora's voice. Ha, you've got a really cute voice. Your son turned into a girl and that's your first comment? Sora admits the equipment has a few issues, but insists it's fine since Kurenai is only a tester. Then he casually drops an even bigger bombshell. Stay logged in for the next 3 months, even while you sleep. 3 months? When Krim tries to log out, the button doesn't work. Sora smiles. I figured you'd try that, so I disabled it. Even Kurenai's upcoming high school entrance is already taken care of. His father has enrolled him in online classes. Realizing she's trapped in the game, Krim can only shout, "This damned old man!" Krim demands to know what her father was thinking, but Sora simply says this is something she truly needs. For now, just play duo and enjoy yourself. Trust me. With little choice, Krim agrees, though she's disappointed to learn her gender can't be changed back. Sora tells her to finish the tutorial and head for Wyndham, the City of Beginnings, before signing off. Annoyed, Krim watches the opening cinematic. Long ago, a mighty empire ruled the continent until its tyranny sparked endless rebellions. The emperor fell, and 30 years later, countless nations now fight for supremacy. Some seek power, others justice, and others simply pursue their own ambitions. Into this war-torn world, the players arrive. Krim quickly realizes Duo isn't just a PvP game, it's a territory conquest game where guilds fight to claim land and build their own nations. Although she's new to large-scale battles, she's fired up. Then I'll gather my own friends and build my own country. The only problem is that she spawns alone in the middle of a forest. Just then, she hears someone screaming and rushes toward the sound. As she runs, the game's realistic movement amazes her, and she unlocks the sprint skill. In Duo, there are no levels. Skills are learned naturally by performing actions. Following the scream, Krim finds a young boy being attacked by a beast in an NPC rescue event. She leaps in and sends the monster flying with a powerful kick. After checking if he's all right, the boy looks up at her and says, "Thank you, big sis." Krim pauses before realizing, right, I really am a girl now.
Krim awkwardly plays along with being called Big Sis and tells the boy to stay back. The beast immediately lunges at her and she barely dodges. Pretty fast for a tutorial enemy. The boy begs her to run, but Krim confidently charges in. Since Duo rewards player skill, she aims for a critical strike, slicing at the beast's neck. To her surprise, the blade doesn't cut through. Seriously? It's that tough? Realizing a normal weapon won't work, Krim creates a dagger using Shadow Light Weapon, a skill that forges a blade from condensed shadows, perfectly suited to the noble red race's high magic power. Leaping into the air, she smiles. If this works, I win. In a flash, she cleanly decapitates the beast. In Duo, losing your head means instant death, no matter how much HP you have left. Proud of her one-shot victory, Krim helps the boy to his feet, only for him to trip and accidentally faceplant into her chest. Embarrassed, George apologizes while Krim barely reacts. The two introduce themselves. I'm George. I'm Krim. Out of habit, Krim accidentally uses a masculine first-person pronoun before quickly correcting herself, leaving George confused. George then offers to take her back to his village. Thinking the tutorial is over, Krim asks for directions to the beginner city, Windham. George looks puzzled. Windham? That's far from here. This is Izumiki Kurigo Naval. Krim freezes. If Windham is nowhere nearby, then that beast wasn't the tutorial boss. Everything clicks. First my race, then my gender, and now I spawned in the wrong starting area. Damn it, old man. And with that, Krim's real adventure finally begins. 2 hours after starting Duo, Krim was taking on a swordsman rabbit. As she fought to herself, I think I'm starting to understand this game concept. The enemy's brain, spine, heart, etc., destroying vital organs and ignoring the remaining HP might be judged as a basic defeat by instant death. As she took down another beast, she thought, it's easy if you destroy their weak point. Perhaps this instant death judgment might be effective even in PvP. Just then, George peeked out from the tree, thanking her for helping him collect materials. After finding out that the starting point was wrong, for the time being, Krim headed for Naval, the nearest town. While helping George collect materials, she found out that his rescue wasn't part of the tutorial. It was actually a normal quest, and it's progressing to the collection quest as it is. I can't even take the tutorial, Krim said, and the start dash is totally late. Well, it can't be helped if I'm worried. Let's think of it as gaining skill proficiency. But even if I say that, this is not the initial area. The quest could be difficult. Above all, it's a continuous quest. Collect materials and complete the quest is not going to happen, right? Krim then wondered why George was even stuck in the middle of the forest to begin with. She went and asked him, to which he said that since his family was a pharmacy, he wanted to help them somehow by collecting materials. Hearing this, Krim smiled and put her arm over his shoulder, joking that he was just about to die earlier. George, on the other hand, with his face close to her body, he was flustered and tried to push her away. Still, Krim said he should have come there with adults since it was dangerous. But for some reason, upon hearing that, George was silent for a moment. He then said he couldn't rely on adults, his father and the others. No one collects materials for the medicine. But he smiled, saying it was fine, since he's got Krim to help him now. Still, hearing that, Krim noticed something. Is there some kind of situation, or is he hiding something? Isn't this a simple gathering quest? Is it worth doing, even if I have to take a little detour? He said he'll let me stay in an empty room. Is it really fine to stay with him until I'm ready for Wyndham? Just then, they finally arrived at Naval, and upon leaving the forest, it finally dawned on her. The sun. With no trees to cast shades over them, the sun was in its full effect on a health blood vampire, and Krim could feel her whole body getting weaker and feeling dizzy. Is this the weakness to sunlight? If this pain is for weak sunlight, I don't even want to imagine how a pureblood's weakness is. Though the sun wasn't in its strong enough time to have a status down penalty on her, she still felt very uncomfortable. Seeing this, George urged her to go with him to his house, saying he would ask his father to lend her an empty room. However, as they arrived at his house, George's father was mad. He scolded him, saying that he had told George many times to not come to that dangerous forest. George could have died if it wasn't for Krim, who showed up. Still, the father held his head. He apologized for causing Krim trouble. Krim, on the other hand, said that it was fine. She didn't mind. Until, internally, she couldn't help but be amazed by how human-like these NPC behaviors are. As they prepared a room for Krim, the father introduced himself as Ludgar. Krim also introduced herself. This time, she once again accidentally referred to herself as a male, which confused Ludgar. Realizing it, Krim tried to play it off, correcting herself, though George and Ludgar didn't really mind. Looking at Krim, Ludgar could help but stroke George's head, saying he was lucky to be saved by such a beauty. On the other hand, George scoffed, saying he didn't find such a brute, gorilla-like woman attractive. But as he said so, he got to take a closer look at Krim, and he thought that she was mad cute, which made George stuttered, his face blushed. Ludgar noticed it. He grinned at George, making George mad. On the other hand, Krim was thinking, I still haven't seen my own face yet. Maybe it's pretty cute? I became a girl because of a bug. In some cases, I leave only the face of the man. There was such a possibility, so, well, for the time being, by touch, it's definitely the face of a girl. Ludgar continued teasing George, saying he should be more amiable, to which George, having enough of the teasing, scoffed at Ludgar, then stormed off, saying he was going to clean up the empty room. After George left, Ludgar called out to Krim, asking for her time. They then had a conversation, and it turned out Ludgar had a sick daughter. She's been weak for a long time. The medicine we have won't cure her, so that George sneaks into the woods to find the ingredients for the medicine. That's why he was in such a dangerous forest. No matter how many times I scold him, he won't listen to me. Can you take care of him so that he won't be so unreasonable? Hearing this, Krim agreed, and they said goodbye for the time being. After Ludgar left, Krim sat alone in the hall. She wanted to look around the town, but the matter regarding the sick daughter stuck in her mind. As she decided to find her room, she walked past a small room and she could hear the coughing sound, along with a voice. It was from George. Be patient, Juna. It's not good if you don't sleep properly, George said. In response to him, the little girl laying in bed said she wanted to play outside. But George told her to wait until she got well, and he would do everything to gather the ingredients for her cure. As George walked out of the room, he met Krim. After a while, George asked if Krim already knew about his sister. He then told Krim, I don't know what my father said, but Krim need Chan too. It's useless to stop me. Looking at George's face as tears welled up in his eyes, Krim apologized to Ludgar internally. She then said, I won't stop you, George. Let's do our best to collect the materials together. Hearing this, George's eyes lit up. Ooh, it's a promise. Fast forward a couple days, Krim woke up all comfortable. She then got changed and went outside. It was the start of the 4th day since she had been trapped in this game. As she went out to do some morning stretching, George also welcomed her, saying she shouldn't be doing whatever weird dance she was doing. He also said he had prepared a robe for her, thinking that she didn't like the sun, to which Krim was super grateful for it. After the morning routine, they went to the forest to collect materials. While being there, Krim went up against a monster. An aquatic reptile monster type, huh? It's a disadvantage to fight in the river with bad footing. Let's be careful and not get dragged into the water. As the snake charged at her, she leaped over its head, but the snake immediately turned around. It was fast. Noticing that, Krim jumped right on the snake's head, stabbing her dagger in. The snake tried to shake her off. It thrust its tail with a venomous sting at her, but such an obvious attack wouldn't hit Krim, as he evaded the attack, directing it straight at the snake's head, and the snake pierced its own skull. What a way to go out. As Krim gracefully landed on the ground, she noted that the fight was enjoyable. She also noticed that the monster's drops were some of the materials they were looking for. While George was checking the materials, Krim opened her skills. Her proficiency had increased, along with some new skills that she could learn. Breaks the opponent's balance, snare, and low-power, long-range attack, dark bullet. Krim found those skills useful and decided to learn it. Just then, she noticed another skill, Blaze Blood. It was noble red magic. It greatly increases stats for a short period, but you are basically incapacitated when the effect ends. So far, it was too risky for Krim, so she left it for the time being. She then asked herself, I've been thinking, 4 days have passed and this quest is still not over. I wonder if it's meant to be completed by a party. Someone please, come here at your convenience. I want to form a party with you. Just then, it dawned on her. Come to think of it, it's been 4 days since Duo launched, but I still haven't met any other players. VR MMO players are a curious group of people. 3 days after launch, hardcore top players would usually have finished most of the available areas. Maybe in Duo, this world really is far wider than I ever could have imagined.
Just then, George asked what was up, but she smiled and said it was nothing. They then decided to head home for today with only one more material left to find. But that night, George found out that Juna's condition had gotten worse, even though they were so close to finding all the materials. With that, despite Ludger finding out about them heading into the forest and trying to stop them, Krim decided that she would go look for the last material right away. Suddenly, Ludger stopped her. Hearing this, George asked what he was even doing, but Ludger said, I have an idea of what the last material is. You're going to the Black Forest, aren't you? But that place is the home of the Lord of the Forest. The one that lurks in the Black Forest, a giant bear monster that reigns at the top of the food chain. It's terribly ferocious and unpredictable. Many people have been killed so far. That bear is a kind of disaster. Getting close to it is just suicide. Hearing this, Krim immediately realized what the monster was. A raid boss, something you need to form a party to defeat. It wasn't an opponent to fight solo. On the other hand, George turned to Krim. What about Krimni-chan? What do you think? You can win, right? After all, you were so strong. But in response, Krim hesitantly said, No, I don't think I can win. Hearing this, George was desperate. He clenched his fist, but he wasn't so immature as to not believe what Krim said, so he didn't push Krim for more. That night, Krim lied in bed, thinking of how she could take on the boss without forming a party. But just then, she heard a commotion outside the house, and many villagers gathered. As Krim heads out to ask what the ruckus was about, Ludger said that the harvesting tools are gone. Perhaps George went to get the medicine material. He's gone deep into the Black Forest. Hearing this, Krim panicked. She rushed to save George, but Ludger held her back, saying, Wait, it's dangerous to go there alone. How many people do you think that monster has killed so far? You yourself said it. It's not an opponent you can beat by yourself. Despite that, Krim said she had to save George, but to her surprise, Ludger looked at her with eyes that harbored pain yet was calm to see things more clearly than anyone else. He said, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. Looking at Ludger, Krim was taken aback. She finally calmed down. Thinking about it, she thought it was her fault. It was her who gave George a false sense of hope, going along with his plan. Still, it was her who progressed the quest, and she had to finish what she started. With that, she rushed off, despite Ludger trying to stop her. After following the event marker on the map, it led her to a massive cave. Standing there, she wished that George was safe. NPCs are all controlled by an advanced AI using a new technology to simulate the structures of the human brain. They are able to respond naturally to players and other NPCs. When a player suddenly encounters an auto-generated quest based on the surrounding environmental information,
More NPCs and quest lines are generated. Their actions can change if players interfere. If they get hurt, they feel pain. They feel sad when someone dies, and also they disappear if they die. Even if they die, a quest will auto-correct, and you will still be able to reach the raid boss with another objective. If you say that it's just an NPC, then yes, nevertheless, as Krim recalled George's smile, she gritted her teeth and ran straight into the cave looking for him. As Krim leaped into the boss arena, she found George, who was hiding behind a boulder. Krim immediately rushed to George, asking if he was okay, but to her surprise, George panicked, urging her to run away. Krim was confused. She looked around, but there was no sign of the boss. Just then, it dawned on her as he looked up above, and there it was. A massive, terrifying monster with a dominating presence towered over her. Its figure was so big she didn't even notice it at the start. Immediately, a notification popped up. The start of the battle, strongest monster's subjugation. Having no other choice, Krim stood against an opponent who wasn't the type that could be beaten in the 3rd chapter.
Standing against the beast, Krim thought that it was clearly not just a bear. But suddenly, the beast charged at her, startling her. She narrowly managed to dodge it, though the speed of the beast caught her off guard. Or rather, not that the beast was fast, but it was so big, each of its steps covered a huge ground, messing up her sense of pacing. The beast struck down again. This time, Krim decided to fight back. She jumped on the beast and slashed it with her magic weapon. But to her surprise, the blade snapped immediately. The beast's neck was covered in hard scales. Having her instant death strategy countered, Krim shot out dark bullets. The bullets hit, but it barely did any damage. On top of that, the beast has a total of 5 HP bars. Knowing the fight was too much for her, Krim tried another tactic. She activated Snare, creating a small hole under the beast's foot, restraining it. Once more, Krim jumped into the sky. This time, she dashed down at the beast, putting her whole body weight in the attack, maximizing the power in an attempt to force the blade through the hard scales. But as the blade made contact, it yielded under too much pressure and snapped again. Damn it, I knew it. The blade can't take it, and shadow weapons don't come with infinite supply either. Should I attack somewhere else on the neck? No. Even if I continue to attack elsewhere, at this rate, I'm not going to be able to stop him. His HP is hardly decreasing. I can't win in a fair fight. I have to find a way to pierce his scale and deal a fatal blow. There's no other way than to ignore his HP and aim for an instant death. Just then, it seemed Krim came up with something as she smiled, pointed the blade at the beast, declaring that she would cut its neck off. The beast could feel her provocative gesture. It roared and rushed at her. As the beast opened its jaw, it bit down on her, but Krim dodged it, making it bite on the ground instead. But the beast's power was too much. It shattered through the ground, destroying her footing. The beast swung her claws at Krim, and Krim tried to jump back, but she slipped over the debris from the last attack and tripped over. The claws only barely grazed her arm, but its damage was enough to render her arm useless. On the other hand, George, witnessing the fight, he also noticed Krim was slowly getting pushed around, and he thought that at that rate, Krim would be killed. Krim, with one of her arms paralyzed, tried to dodge the attacks. She thought to herself, "Don't panic, calm down. So far, he's made no special attacks. The vampire's unique skill, self-regeneration, is active. Once I'm healed, I'll be able to use my right arm again. Until then, I'd like to run around and buy some time." But just as she was lost in thought, the beast had already closed the distance, and this time Krim couldn't dodge it. But suddenly, a small rock went flying at the beast's eye, distracting it. It was George who threw it, as he tried to divert the beast's attention. The beast glared at George. It turned around to attack him, which revealed its small wound from Krim's earlier attack, and Krim noticed it. On the other hand, George was ready to die. He told Krim to run away with the material for the medicine. But as the beast swung down at George, Krim couldn't just stand and watch. She jumped in, pushing George away, but she herself couldn't evade the attack, and the beast's claws hit her cleanly. The attack bashed Krim flying away, rolling on the ground.
as George rushed to her side, asking why she did that for him. Krim thought as she looked at her near-fatal HP bar. As I thought, I guess it was reckless after all. I can't believe I thought I could beat the boss alone. But just as all hope seemed lost, Krim suddenly heard George crying. It's my fault. I'm useless. That's why. I'm sorry, Krim Nichan. I'm sorry. Looking at George's expression, his oddly human-like nature struck something deep inside Krim, and she made up her mind. You're not useless. I still have a way. Noble Red's own magic. It's a decisive skill for a quick turnaround in exchange for an enormous amount of power. I'll be significantly weakened 30 seconds later. If I don't beat him within the time limit, I will lose. As Krim tried to get up, she said to George, "Thanks to you, maybe I can make it." "What do you mean?" "It means that I haven't given up yet." With that, the beast struck down once again, but this time, Krim knew she could do it. She'd seen the wound from earlier. The beast wasn't invincible. Suddenly, the beast's arm was slashed open, blood gushing out, startling it. Now, standing in front of the beast was a new Krim who was determined to protect those she loved. Inherent magic. Blaze blood. As Krim activated her super skill, she glared at the beast. Prepare yourself. Duo has many playable races, each of which possesses their own unique skills. Among these, the most unique one is Blaze Blood. When used, all of the blood in the body begins to burn, and for 30 seconds, all stats and effects of self-regeneration are greatly boosted. But once the skill effect ends, the player becomes significantly weakened, basically incapacitated. With 30 seconds on the clock, Krim blitzed at the beast. Each of her attacks dealt significant damage, peeling away the hard scales. On top of having figured out the boss's attack patterns, Krim relentlessly attacked the beast's neck. As she slowly entered her flow, her speed drastically increased. Along with improved timing, she danced around the beast, not giving it a single chance. The beast was pissed off. It used a wide move, trying to catch Krim. The move almost caught Krim, but she kept going. After all, if she couldn't finish the fight quickly, they were done for. With that, she jumped to the ceiling again, using the ceiling as footing to dash at the beast, reinforcing the attack with all the power in her body. As she hit the beast, the power pushed the beast to the ground. The beast screamed in pain. But it wasn't enough. Only the scale broke. The neck hadn't been pierced through yet. With only 10 seconds left on the clock, the beast roared. It tried to shake her off, but this time it was ride or die, and Krim was determined. This will decide it! She grabbed onto the boss's neck and released a flurry of attacks, cleaving through the beast, blood spilling everywhere as Krim raced against time itself. 6.12 seconds left, 4.46, 2.89, 1.37, and before long, the clock struck 0. And on the ground, Krim was gasping for breath, sitting on the decapitated monster, its body slowly dissipating into the air. A new notification popped up. The boss of the Black Forest area, the strongest monster, has been defeated for the first time. Title: The Headhunter of the Strongest Monster was obtained. As Krim saw George running at her, her vision darkened and she passed out. And with that, after a while, Krim woke up to find herself on her bed. As she tried to cover her eyes from the bright sun, she noticed something. Her arm looked so small. Actually, her whole body shrinked, and now she looked like a little kid. What's this? Why am I so small? Just then, George walked in, and after explaining everything, Krim thanked Ludger and apologized for all the commotion. Apparently, right after Krim killed the boss, Ludger and the others came to help. He took George, the mysterious little girl they found, who was Krim, and went back home uneventfully. After that, Ludger asked, "So, why did the little Missy end up shrinking?" But to be frank, Krim was also confused. She thought, there's no doubt that Noble Red's unique skill. It's probably a side effect of activating Blaze Blood. Because the skill's activation cost a lot of blood, I'm out of gas, so to speak. With that, she decided to reveal her race, apologizing, "I'm sorry for not telling you, but I'm a type of vampire called Noble Red. I'm a demon. It's probably disgusting to know that I suck blood, right? If you want me to leave, I'll do it right away." But to her surprise, George said, "It doesn't matter. Even if you're a vampire, Nichan, you still came to save me, didn't you?" Ludger agreed with George. For him, Krim was the one who saved both of his children. From gathering materials to taking down the boss, she was no less than a family member to him. Both of them thanked her, to which she was happy and thanked them also. A while later, George prepared her a cup of his blood, though it was still hard for him to believe that drinking it would turn Krim back to normal. Still, he told Krim not to hold back. On the other hand, Krim was hesitant. Though all her vampire instincts were craving for it, she herself found it disgusting. After all, she was a vegetarian. Hearing this, George wondered how she even survived all this time. Still, George urges her to drink it anyway, telling her to cover her eyes and nose. Krim agreed. She covered her nose and started chugging it down. But as the tangy, metallic scent of blood flooded her mouth, she was startled, and a bad memory from back then started coming to her. The memory started with people screaming, telling others to call the ambulance. Next, it was Krim's dad. His face was horrified as he asked why Krim did such a thing. On the other hand, another girl, named Hijiri, sustained a heavy bite wound on her neck. Blood was oozing while her mom panicked, trying to hold the blood. She also screamed at Krim. "He bit her out of nowhere. That's too much even for a joke." Hearing this, Krim, at that time, was Karenai. He was shivering, cold sweat running down his face as he was startled. The blood. I didn't mean to. Just then, Hijiri, holding on to her wound, tried to smile, saying, "I'm fine. I only bled a little bit. Everyone is overreacting. I'm fine, so, right, Kokun?" The scene of that girl was suddenly cut short as Krim snapped back to reality. Laying on the bed, she asked herself, why did I do that?" Just then, George knocked on the door. He was worried since Krim started panicking all of a sudden. Hearing this, Krim apologized for showing him such an ugly sight. George then asked if she had any bad memory, saying he wouldn't force her to drink blood anymore. But Krim assured him that it was just the bad taste that startled her. After that, Ludger walked in. He gave her a gift. It was a unique equipment, the cloak of the young Red Lion Emperor, said to have been worn by the first emperor of the empire in his childhood. Upon receiving the gift, Krim was stoked. Ludger then asked if Krim wanted to go to Wyndham City, saying he couldn't help much, but he suggested that Krim should go to one of the trade cities to find information about Wyndham. Trade City is a place where adventurers gather. One can get there using the transport plaza in the square. And the one that Krim would head to was called the Unlimited Trade City Valhallant, a floating city in the sky. As Krim arrived at the city, the crowd was bustling with chatters from the players, and Krim was excited. Meanwhile, back in the real world, one of the employees informed Krim's dad that the cradle had been transferred, to which he thanked him. After the employee left, someone else entered the room, calling out to Krim's dad, referring to him as her spouse. That woman noted that it seemed Krim had already chosen a side, though Krim's dad said that he didn't choose it consciously. Still, the woman said there were a lot of things she wanted to talk about with this child. As she smiled, she said, "So, wake up soon, my daughter." Back at the trade city Valhallant, people were able to access anywhere in this city. It was a place specifically designed for the players. Looking around, Krim was excited, but thinking about it, she wondered what it was that made this city a trade city. Just then, she stumbled upon an arena, and she could hear the sound of the commentator announcing the fight between two players. The dome in the center, is it a PvP arena? Krim thought. I get it. Trading, huh? In that case, I've decided where to go next. Wyndham can wait. As she walked around the facility, she could hear the chatter of players everywhere, talking about equipment, items, and information about the game. The atmosphere felt exactly like a lively game, and Krim was super happy. As she excitedly decided to take a look around, she suddenly realized that the attention of the crowd was diverting toward her. Everyone was captivated by her cute appearance. asking themselves if she was an idol or if the game had such a great facial optimization. One of the players even said she smelled good. Pretty weird, but okay. Come to think of it, Krim still had no idea what her face looked like, so she rushed to find a mirror, and for the first time, she got to see how her face was. Whoa, this is me? Cute. Krim herself was flustered by her own looks that she accidentally used the male pronoun that she was trying to fix. Though her face and hair color was standing out too much, so she decided to hide it with her cloak, saying, "I'd rather not draw attention for being pretty. As a guy, it's kind of embarrassing to be seen that way. In the first place, whose face is my avatar based on?" As she was waiting for her food, she kept thinking, if I'd been born as a girl, maybe this is what my face would look like. Nah, there's no way. Well, more importantly, she said as the food arrived, it was French fries. Krim happily dug into the food, saying, "It's been so long since I've had junk food. All I've had was mostly bread and water. What a waste of a state-of-the-art tasting engine. You can eat as much as you want without gaining weight. No wonder this game is also popular with girls." Krim was so absorbed in the fries, everyone noticed her, thinking how cute she was. Just then, Krim heard some players behind her talking about the rare race they got. A girl, she got Noble Elf, an advanced form of the normal elf race, though it makes her take 10% more physical damage, which she was not happy about. On the other hand, another guy chose an orc race with a trait that buffed him only against female knights, while another guy chose to be a goblin, and now they just want to die. Looking at their unsightly appearance, the elf girl said, "You could have just not chosen that race." But both of the guys insisted, "But it's rare, of course we'd pick it." To which the girl tried to calm them down, saying they looked scary with that race. Listening in on the conversation, Krim was amazed by the variety of rare races this game had, though the base race seemed more balanced for the time being, since there was very little information about rare races in the early game, and depending on the person, basic races might be a better fit. Just then, a man called out to her. He introduced himself as Elmir, then complimented her robe and asked if he could help her getting used to the game mechanic. Hearing this, Krim thought, is this the so-called picking up girls? Krim then tried to decline the offer, saying she wanted to figure things out herself. But Elmir was consistent as he complimented her pretty face, asking how she managed to do it with character creation. Feeling annoyed, Krim said she was going solo for a while and tried to leave, but Elmir suddenly grabbed her wrist, telling her to wait. And to Krim's surprise, she could feel a burning sensation upon touching his hand. Turns out, this guy was wearing silver rings and it burned her. With that, Krim quickly pulled her arm out, startling Elmir. But as Elmir took a closer look at the burn mark on her wrist, he immediately recognized it and asked, "You're a vampire, aren't you?" This sudden revelation caught the attention from the crowd. On the other hand, Elmir took a closer look at the other features on Krim's face and confirmed that she was in fact a vampire. He then insisted, offering Krim to join his guild, but Krim kept turning him off. But the guy was stubborn. He kept asking more questions. Better yet, where do you live? Are you a high schooler? Oh yeah, tell me your character's name. Hearing this, Krim said her name was Potato, thinking she would try to shake him off, and went on her own. Just then, she heard the voice of the crowd in the arena again. Huh? This place is the arena? Huh? Ah, Elmir explained. This is the battling area, Potato-chan. Are you interested in PvP? What are you gonna do? Want a PvP with me? I'll go easy on you, Potato-chan. Hearing this, something lit up in Krim's mind as she smiled, saying, Elmir, was it? You mentioned earlier that you were recruiting players. If you can beat me in PvP, I don't mind joining you. Upon this offer, Elmir was taken aback, but he also smiled. On the contrary, if I lose, you're telling me to not recruit you anymore? Hearing this, Krim affirmed his assumption, and with that, both of them stepped on the arena, ready for Krim's first PvP battle. As they stood against each other, Elmir wanted to double-check if Krim would really join his guild if he win. But Krim was too busy lost in her own thought, feeling excited with her first PvP battle, though it was a little weird that that pickup artist was her first opponent. As she glanced at Elmir, she assumed that with a human knight build like his, it was probably a balanced build, a perfect practice partner. As the battle started, Elmir jumped at Krim, saying, "Well said, Potato-chan. I like this side of you too. I'll end it right away." But as he swung down his sword, Krim confidently said that that was her line. She then deflected his sword with her shadow dagger and slashed at him. Elmir was caught off guard, but he narrowly managed to block it with his shoulder armor just slightly enough for the blade to graze through his temple. Still, damage was dealt, and Elmir finally realized the situation that he just got himself in. There were 3 ways to win in PvP. First was to delete the opponent's HP. Second is for the opponent to retire from the match. And the third way was to score a critical hit on their vitals. And as Elmir got the look at Krim's terrifying expression, he could already tell which way she chose to end the fight. Elmir, feeling relieved that his good equipment saved his ass earlier, he joked, saying he was impressed at Potato-chan, though this time he was more careful as he advanced at Krim, while blocking with his shield. Elmir said, "You're really fast with just a dagger, but isn't it bad to only rely on that?" But to his surprise, Krim was confident. After all it takes is one vital hit. Realizing her strategy, Elmir shoved the shield at Krim, pushing her out of the ground. It was an effective attack pattern that he learned from the top player's strategy video. "Ha! Now that I've got you in the air, you're done." On the other hand, Krim reversed her dagger grip, trying to reach Elmir over the shield. But Elmir was confident it wouldn't work. He then activated his skill, Shield Bash, wanting to blow her away. But to his surprise, Krim stomped on his reinforced thigh as he committed to the skill movement, jumping above him, dodging the Shield Bash. Elmir, having received the end lag from his skill, he could only look up at Krim, while Krim smiled, saying, "I got caught off guard for a moment there, but nice try," she said as he landed on Elmir, digging her blade into his throat while smiling happily. "Well, looks like I won." With that, Elmir dropped to the ground, his HP depleted to 0, while Krim smiled, saying, "It was pretty fun. Let's play again sometime." Well, by sometime, it meant just a moment later, as once Krim stepped out of the arena, Elmir had respawned and was waiting for her. He smiled, saying, "Even though I lost, fighting you was quite refreshing, Potato-chan." Hearing this, Krim also complimented him. "Thanks. I was surprised by how strong you were, too. To be honest, I thought you were just a womanizer who wasn't actually invested in playing this game at first." Hearing this, Elmir couldn't really argue, so he just apologized. He then thanked her for the fight, and they bid farewell. But before Krim left, she turned around and said, "My name's not Potato, it's Krim. See ya, let's fight again sometime." Seeing her leave, Elmir blushed a little, though he couldn't help but ask himself if what he saw when she jumped over him was real. Was she wearing men's underwear? After that, as Krim walked around the city, she was super satisfied with the battle. Just then, someone called out to her, "Krim-chan!" It was an elf woman who ran at Krim and hugged her tightly. "Krim-chan, I was watching your fight. You looked so cool. And your dad already told me earlier, but you really did become a girl. So cute." On the other hand, another male elf who was with her was tired of her behavior. Well, Krim couldn't answer as the elf hugged her against her chest so tightly she was suffocating. It seemed these two knew Krim in real life as they even sent her messages beforehand, but she didn't know since she had no idea how to open her inbox. The male elf is Krim's childhood friend, Furuya Subaru. He was super competitive and hated to lose, but he was still Krim's best friend. His player name is Frey. And the woman was Subaru's twin sister, Furuya Hijiri. Whenever Krim's dad was busy and couldn't make it home, she took care of Krim instead, almost like a sister. Her player name was Freya. And yeah, she was the one who was bit in the neck by Krim back then. Though they were inside a game, they wouldn't see the scar. Just then, Freya caught Krim staring. She asked if something was up, but Krim tried to play it off, saying she was glad the 3 of them could team up. Freya also believed that they would be an unstoppable team, with the exception of Freya, of course, as he said she would just make another bizarre build. But she retorted, saying this time she would be serious with her tanker healer build. They kept arguing for a while. After that, back to the main issue, by some strange bug, Krim spawned in Naval instead of Wyndham, alone, and without knowing where Wyndham was, she couldn't meet up with the others once they left the floating city of Holland. Just then, someone showed up, asking if the three of them wanted him to take them to Naval. It was a man who offered to take them there for free, which sounded pretty suspicious. With that, days later, Krim was back in Naval through teleportation, though she was waiting for everyone else to come. Thinking about it, the man who offered Frey and Freya a free ride seemed pretty suspicious, but Krim decided to just stay and do a wood collecting quest to gain axe proficiency while waiting for them. Just then, a notification popped up saying she had unlocked a new shadow weapon, but before she could check it out, she noticed Frey and Freya along with the man running out from the woods. The three of them looked all tattered, like they'd just escaped from multiple life and death situations. We're finally here! I'm dying! Throwing back 2 days earlier, back at Valhalla, the man introduced himself as Runosuke, and he offered to take Frey and Freya to Naval. On the other hand, they asked if he could just take Krim back to Wyndham instead, but he declined, saying he himself couldn't teleport to Naval. The last time he tried, he died right before getting there, so he didn't get it registered as a teleport location. But now, as he had gotten better at the game, he wanted to get there once more, but still there was a condition in exchange for him leading them there, which he would tell them once they got to Naval. And here we are, seeing the three of them looking like they just went through hell and back. Though Runosuke sucked at fighting, he was expecting them to be more powerful. And the fact that Frey was a caster and Freya was a healer did not help either. He knew they didn't have a tank, but the real problem lay within Freya. She kept getting herself caught by monsters and traps, putting them in dangerous situations. Hearing this, Freya said the only reason Runosuke could hide was because he had several stealth skills. Overall, it seemed like a fun trip. Frey then asked what Krim was doing holding her axe like that, saying it looked scary. Turns out, this game had a housing feature that Krim managed to obtain a small cabin to live in after doing a lot of quests for Naval, though the cabin was pretty run down and Krim was collecting wood to fix it. Still, Krim said that doing it was kind of addicting. Just then, a little girl showed up. She hugged Krim from behind, smiling happily. It was Juna, George's sister. Krim also smiled and said, "You're looking all better. You're still recovering, though, so be careful." The twin looked at Juna. They were curious as to who this girl was, to which Juna happily introduced herself, urging them to go join her father's barbecue. Looking at them, Runosuke couldn't help but be amazed at the level of attachment Krim had managed to establish with an NPC. Moreover, they were having a barbecue, and Ryunosuke thought it would be a great idea to bring a gift, as he pulled out a guinea fowl that he somehow managed to catch in the midst of their horrible journey. After that, at the barbecue, Ryunosuke was super excited. "So good! This is quite the delicious meal, Ludger-san, and having a beer in the middle of the day really is the best." On the other hand, Ludger was equally stoked. "That's what I should be saying, and this guinea fowl you brought is amazing." Krim noted that the two of them got along really well. I mean, two middle-aged men with a barbecue and pints of beer? Who wouldn't be happy? Krim then asked if they could feel the effect of alcohol in-game, to which Ryunosuke assured her, saying there won't be any, so no hangovers. On the other hand, Juna prepared some grilled vegetables for Krim, while George said that it was a real pity since she couldn't eat meat, but Krim assured him that it was fine. She then turned to Ryunosuke, asking him, "By the way, Ryunosuke, it's about time you told us the condition for bringing my friends to Naval, don't you think?" "Oh yeah," Ryunosuke said. "My condition is to attack the Kime Pass." Kime Pass. It's probably a hidden area that only I know about, and areas like that usually have rare items as rewards. The first person to conquer an area gets extra rewards, and I'll take half of those. Krim then asked if he couldn't do it alone, to which he affirmed. He then continued, "There's an ogre tribe over there, and it's impossible to reason with them. The moment they see the light of your eyes, they'll kill you. That's why I need the help of someone strong. And just when I came to Volatant, I saw your match, Krim. You're quite the gamer, aren't you?" Frey then asked if Krim would do it, to which she smiled and accepted the offer, saying she was interested in it herself. With that, they set off to Kime Pass. The location was in a canyon, just past the Black Forest. By going through a small crevice, it would lead them to where they needed to go. And, as they finally arrived at the location, They were horrified by the scene of an ogre tribe. They were cooking with a giant pot. Inside the pot were several other monsters, like orcs and goblins. A stew pot? Were seriously attacking this place?
Looking at the entrance, which was decorated with skulls and bones, Krim and the others were impressed that Ryunosuke even dared to step foot in such a barbaric place in the first place. After that, well, as the only one with any real fighting capacity, Krim was tasked with taking on the ogre, while the others cheered her on. And as Krim was complaining how she always got the short end of the stick, an ogre suddenly jumped on her, stabbing his massive sword down. Whoa! Krim managed to dodge it. A surprise attack? They knew we were coming? Just then, Freya shouted, telling her to look around, and before she knew it, she was already surrounded by the whole tribe, with every single ogre towering over her. This is a bit much. Seriously? Krim thought. Just as I'd expect from this game. Aren't there way too many of them? Just then, a woman showed up. She chanted, "Rin," as she drew her sword at a blistering speed, sending an ogre flying. Krim was surprised. She couldn't see the attack at all. And as the woman stood before her, the woman then told the ogres to stop attacking, saying Krim had the smell of one of them, while the ogres referred to her as the sword master. Holy armpit. Fuck, sorry, I should really focus up. The woman then apologized to Krim, saying they didn't notice that Krim carried the scent of a fellow demon at first. She then introduced herself as Maou, the swordmaster of the ogre tribe, and she also welcomed Krim's friends. It seemed that based on the party composition, the ogres there could become friendly if you had a demon race character with you. Krim then asked if Maou was someone important there, but she denied, saying she was just a humble blacksmith. Just then, another Oni lady showed up. She asked how old was Krim, thinking she was 5. But to her surprise, Krim was 15 years old, which was way too small for a teenage Oni. Hearing this, the lady was worried and gave Krim a goblin's head, telling her to eat it, thinking she was neglected. Seeing the head, Krim was startled. She asked, "I thought demons were your brethren." But the lady replied, saying it was a different story when they came to attack her first. Well, as the lady took a closer look at Krim, she realized that Krim was a vampire, which she thought was a discount version of a real demon, and she lost interest. A while later, Maou led them to her village. Krim and the others were shocked at the building sizes, which were like 2 times bigger than their normal one. Just then, Krim noticed something from a distance. There was an arena with an ogre standing in the middle, as he just came out victorious from a sparring match, asking if anyone wanted to be the next opponent. Looking at him, Krim asked Maou what they were doing, to which Maou said that it was a type of training. It was a norm that an Oni has to be strong, if not, they will be banished from the village. Maou then said if any one of the group could beat 3 Onis, she would give them a reward. Hearing this, Ryunosuke and Frey immediately recognized that it was an event quest, but as they turned to Krim, she had already disappeared. As it turned out, Krim had already stood in front of the Oni asking for a match. As the Oni accepted the offer, a quest notification started on Krim's view, but just as she was looking at it, the Oni jumped at her. He delivered a powerful attack, sending shockwave and dust flying, but just when he thought the fight had ended, the dust cleared out and Krim was nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a voice spoke up. "Good timing. There's something I've been wanting to try out." It was Krim, who had jumped above the Oni. With that, Krim used her new shadow weapon, Shadow Battle Axe, and she cleaved the Oni, taking him out. Maou and Frey were impressed, while the Oni admitted defeat. Looking at the axe, Krim was more than satisfied. She now has a means to resolve fights with brute force. Just then, another Oni jumped in. He screamed as he swung his sword at her. "What did you do to my little brother? I'll grind you to a pulp!" As his sword flew at her, Krim rotated her stance and she swung her axe at his. Both of them clashed, and the 2 weapons were deflected away, but Krim was ready for it. She was the first to retrieve her axe, and she cut the unarmed Oni down, winning the second fight. On the other side, the twin was cheering Krim on, while Ryunosuke noticed Maou leaving, asking where she was going. Back to Krim, she was noting to herself the long startup time of the axe in exchange for the heavy damage. Just then, a voice called out, Seems like you've been having fun fighting. It's been a long time since I felt the need to go all out." Hearing this, Krim turned around to see that Mato was standing behind, towering over her, and she asked Krim for a match. Swordmaster Mato, Krim thought, so she's the third one. With that, the third fight began as the two of them stood against each other. On the side, though everyone was cheering for Krim, they couldn't help but notice a different presence that Mato let out. As Mato put her hand on her sword, she told Krim not to get done by a single blow. Immediately, Mato blitzed Krim, sending out a double slash attack. Though Krim managed to block it with her axe, she was taken aback by the speed and the weight of the blow, while Mato was impressed. Realizing her threatening speed, Krim decided to use her new skill, Slave Chain, a magic that consumes your own blood to launch blood-woven chains, pulling the target in closer. Using the chains to restrain Mato, Krim bought enough time to swing her heavy axe, and both of them clashed. Mato was impressed that Krim managed to deal some damage on her, but Krim also noted that Mato had managed to deal an exchange blow on her, reducing her HP. On the side, an Oni showed up out of nowhere next to Freya and the others, startling her. He said, "Whenever Mato-sama finds someone she likes, she always interrupts the fights like this." Hearing this, Ryunosuke and Frey realized that right now, Krim's fighting someone who isn't the original third opponent. Back to the match, Mato was impressed with Krim's skill, though she immediately picked up that Krim wasn't using her usual weapon. She then said, "If you're not going to fight like yourself, you'll lose for sure. That's why, if it's you, I can show it." With that, Matu readied her stance, and behind her back a symbol appeared, with 9 talisman characters surrounding it. Secret Sword Kokonoe. First strike, Rin. Matu dashed deep in Krim's range, before drawing her sword with powerful destructive power and speed. Luckily, Krim had seen this move earlier, so she managed to block it, though the power was no joke. Second strike, Pew. While still in range, Matu delivered a heavy flurry of attacks. Each hit was fast, it still carried immense weight behind it. Krim struggled to defend herself. The battle was becoming one-sided. Third strike, Toe. After the flurry, Matu finished for the sideways slash, focusing everything on power. Krim blocked it. At this point, she figured the skill was an onslaught of 9 consecutive attacks, based on the 9 characters, and Krim needed to somehow cancel the rest of the moves fast before it was too late for her. Just then, the axe showed signs of breaking, and Krim noticed it, so she decided to jump back to gain some space. But immediately as Krim jumped back, Matu got into an II stance, and Krim immediately realized that the previous attack also served as a way to bait her into falling back into the ideal range for a quick draw. Fourth strike, Sha. Matu immediately drew her sword, sending out a light-speed slash, but Krim barely managed to activate Snare, messing up her footing, and the attack ended up cutting off her arm instead of her head. Matu was impressed. Not many managed to last this long into her special move. Outside, Frey asked if Krim could heal her arm, but Ryunosuke said that during the fight, unless Krim's got a healer with her, or else she would have to fight with just one arm like that. On the other hand, pun unintended, Krim was thinking if she should use Blaze Blood, but she knew that it was too risky, so she used Slave Chain again. Matu was unimpressed. The chains were too slow to catch her again. But suddenly, she noticed something different. The chains weren't aiming at her. Instead, they were shot into various directions, covering the battlefield. I wonder what you're up to," Matu said. This strategy wasn't how the skill was intended to be used. Back then, while practicing the skill, after missing the skill against a foul multiple times, Krim realized that it was too slow to catch distant targets. Just then, she tripped over a chain. Whoa, who the hell put this here? But as she turned around, she realized that they were her own chains from the missed shots. It seemed the chain would remain a while after being shot out, though using it too much would cause her to shrink like using Blaze Blood. Still, she thought she could take advantage of this fact somehow. Back to the present, right now is where that strategy is put to test.
Looking at the chain, though Maou admitted it would be hard to move, it still wouldn't be enough to stop her. Fifth strike, Kai, a slash then sent out multiple energy projectiles at Krim. Everyone was worried she might get hit, but to their surprise, Krim dodged by climbing on the chains, dangling herself while teasing Maou. Maou smiled, saying that she was really like a bat, and she would take her on with her game. Sixth strike, Jin. Seventh strike, Retsu. Maou sent out 2 more strikes, but Krim dodged everything by swinging around with the chains. Everyone was impressed, asking if she plays sport in real life. Still, there were 2 more strikes to be wary of. On the other hand, though smiling and teasing, Krim was fully aware. If I lose focus, I'll be dead in no time. She's using a powerful skill. There's no way it doesn't have any downsides. And so far, the chains are doing their job. If I can deal with Kokonoe and neutralize the last parts of the attack, I'll have a chance at winning. Just then, Maou had had enough of this. She said, "Our fight has been pretty interesting so far, but the show ends here." Eighth strike, Zai. Maou delivered a vertical, downward cleave. The slash was refined to its purest form, sending out a thin shockwave that cuts through all the chains. Krim immediately lost her grip. She knew that she had no choice but to end it right here. Krim used Slave Chain again to catch Maou's arm while manifesting a shadow axe. But it was too late. Maou told her that it was a good fight as she slowly sheathed her sword. And as the sword slid completely back into its scabbard, ninth strike, Zen, and Krim was reduced into pieces by thousands of slashes. But just as Maou declared her victory, Krim's voice spoke up, asking her if she was being too hasty. Maou was startled. He immediately looked up, but to her surprise, aside from the broken axe, Krim wasn't there. But as she took a closer look at the axe, she could see Krim's head poking out behind it. That's what? It turned out, Krim had exhausted all of her usable blood and transformed into the child form, hiding behind the axe as it was falling down. Though she didn't have any fighting ability anymore, the force of a heavy weapon failing down was already enough, and there was only one thing she needed to do, which was to direct the axe at Maou, using the last chain that grabbed onto Maou's hand. With that, Maou hastily tried to hold out her sword to block, but it was too late. The axe fell right at her, slicing across her stomach, dealing enough damage to declare Krim's victory.
And that concluded the attack on Kime Pass. After that, while Frey was hugging Krim's tiny form, Maou complimented her and gave her the reward: new katana skills, to which Krim was super hyped. When it came to Japanese sword, she could be considered one of the top players no matter which game. Ryunosuke was also excited. After all, everyone wants to learn those skills, and they could make money selling info on it. Still, Frey commented that the difficulty of the quest was a little too high. According to the quest summary, if you beat the first 2 opponents unscathed, you get to challenge Maou. And no matter who the final opponent is, the quest reward doesn't increase or decrease, so facing Maou was just an extra challenge. On the other hand, Maou also complimented Krim, saying Krim managed to beat her with such inferior equipment. Thinking about it, except for the robe, all Krim was using was the starting equipment. After that, Frey asked how Krim would get back to her normal form, but Krim didn't want to reveal it, thinking it might relive Freya's trauma, so she ended up asking Maou to help her get some blood, while not letting the others know. Just like that, after a while, Maou and Krim came back, with Krim already back to her normal form, though she looked sick to her stomach. With that, it was time for them to leave. Krim thanked Maou for the blood, to which Maou said they would welcome her back anytime. Now then, the next area is the desert, and it seemed their journey was far from safe and uneventful, as the moment they arrived, they could already see a giant worm monster lurking around. Back a moment earlier, as the team was crossing the desert, Krim couldn't handle the burning sun. She was weakened both physically and mentally, to the point Freya had to carry her on her back, though Freya didn't mind at all. Looking at her helpless sight, Ryunosuke couldn't believe she was the same person that just won against Maou earlier, wondering what food she ate to get that good. Hearing this, Frey explained, "Back then, there was a VR game called Master of Swordsman. It's like a training simulator, but you can use a bunch of different weapons. It's something Krim's dad made.
It's as hard to beat as an average Joe fighting Superman. Hearing this, Ryunosuke was terrified, asking if that could even be considered a game. Freya then continued, Crim-chan spent a lot of time home alone, and that was the first game her dad gave her. She's been challenging it since she was little, but she still hasn't won ever since childhood. Hearing this, Ryunosuke finally understood the source of Crim's strength, though it's commonplace nowadays, but a while back, using VR games for combat training was generally frowned upon. Frey then joked that back then, Freya tried the game too, but she sucked at it so bad that she got all sulky. Hearing this, Freya scoffed. That stupid game is impossible for normal people. Though internally, Freya thought to herself, the three of us have played a lot of games together, and I've always been the slowest to learn them, but Duo focuses on playing a party. I can support them now. Probably.
Well, just as she steeled her resolve, the game gave her a trial right away, as suddenly, a giant worm monster emerged from the ground, and Freya was terrified. Well, with a giant worm on their ass and their most powerful fighter incapacitated, they started running for their lives. Freya was genuinely horrified, a giant monster, and a disgusting worm at that. But as she turned to ask Crim to save her like usual, she realized that this time it was her turn to protect Crim. And having made up her mind, she had to commit to what she said. Just then, Frey pointed to a rocky crevice, telling them to hide there. But Freya was carrying Crim, which slowed her down greatly. She scoffed, "No way, that's too far, it's impossible." On the other hand, Frey said, "You just said you can do it too when it comes down to it." To which Freya said, "I know, but there's a limit." Just then, the worm had already closed in on her. Its body loomed over her. "No way!" Freya screamed. "I knew it was impossible. Forgive me, Crim-chan!" But suddenly, as the worm bit down on her, Crim suddenly regained her power. She picked Freya up and ran. "Ha-ha!" Crim said. "That was a close call. You okay there, Freya?" Turns out, as the worm got close to them, its body casted a shadow over Crim, which stopped the effect of the sun. With that, Crim seemed to be able to move again. Or not. As she ran away from the worm, they were out of its shadow, and the sun immediately hit Crim, making her pass out. Freya panicked. She tried to pick Crim up, but it was too late, and the worm genuinely slimed them both out. Looking at them getting swallowed, Freya asked Ryunosuke, "Shall we pick them up at the respawn point, Ryunosuke?" To which he replied, "It should be set to Kime Pass right now." Eventually, the squad made it to a town in the desert. They ended up traversing the desert at night, which was way easier for Crim. Thinking about it, Freya was feeling down that she couldn't do anything again. Crim noticed her and checked up on her, but Freya just brushed it off as nothing. That night, they made it to an inn. Everyone was tired. Ryunosuke said he would log out, saying goodbye for the night. After that, the three discussed their training plan. Freya said that she and Frey had a unique race, a high elf, which has longer years, and in exchange for low physical defense, they have a lot of MP to cast magic. Frey wanted to become an archmage, while Freya wanted to be a healer, though she wasn't certain with her decision, since she wasn't as good as the other two. Still, she asked if being a tank healer would be okay. Hearing this, both Crim and Frey affirmed her idea. On top of that, what Crim truly wants is for Freya to have fun and enjoy the build she herself thought up. Hearing this, Freya was happy. With that, they spent their night chatting, planning builds together.
Days later, the team finally arrived at the destination where Crim was supposed to start her game at, the city of beginnings, Wyndham. Crim was super excited. She wanted to form a guild right away, but it seemed Frey and Freya knew something was waiting for her, saying she would get to know their pain. Immediately, the opening trailer popped up on Crim. Frey then explained that the tutorial would start automatically when you enter Wyndham for the first time. On the other hand, Freya said they should go ahead and do some shopping, while leaving Crim to her own device. Crim panicked. She didn't want to do a tutorial run, especially when she had been playing the game for a while now. But as she tried to skip it, the other three knew damn well it was unskippable. On top of that, it was super long. Ryunosuke once took an hour and a half just to finish it. Eventually, Crim managed to finish the tutorial, and she noted that there were actually a lot of things she didn't know about, though she fell asleep once they got to the battle part. Meanwhile, the twin had brought some items for them, while Ryunosuke was making a guide for acquiring katana skills, asking if Crim could help him.
With that, Ryunosuke bid them farewell, to which Krim was let down, wishing he could play with them more. But Ryunosuke assured her they had had a great time together after all. Hearing this, Krim still thought that she's gonna miss him. The four ended up exchanging friend requests, and with that, it was time for Ryunosuke to leave. After that, the three of them got back to their main topic. The reason they came there was to create their own guild. Hearing this, Krim's eyes lit up again. On top of that, they had already had enough money from the last quest. All that was left was to create a guild. But it was not that easy. Turns out they needed 5 people to be able to create a guild. What's more, all that money was still not enough. At this rate, Krim was afraid they would miss the open area conquest event. Just then, someone showed up. It was none other than Elmir. He overheard their conversation about needing a guild and intended to offer to recruit them. Just then, both of them recognized each other. Krim-chan, yo, how's it been? Oh, Elmir. Are those two friends of yours? Introduce me, Elmir asked as he referred to the twin, but Freya had already known him from his match with Krim, referring to him as the idiot whom Krim wiped the floor with. Well, Elmir was having some trouble though. After the incident with Krim, their interaction was somehow recorded and spread like wildfire on the internet, and all of Elmir's reputation quickly went to shit as being a creep. Though Krim thought that it was deserved, Elmir began crying, saying that the internet was exaggerating everything about him, and several false rumors were even made. Hearing this, Krim started to feel sorry. She asked how she could help, to which Elmir suggested a casual team match in order to appeal to the internet, making them think that that incident wasn't that serious. Hearing this, Freya was worried since she didn't know much about PvP, while Krim, being a complete battle maniac, immediately took on the offer. With that, the match was announced. While waiting in the arena waiting room, Frey was going over the basics to Freya, from the concept of teamwork to how the spells in this game interact with each other. Hearing this, Freya was relieved and confident, thinking she was strong now since she had learned a bunch of skills with her skill point. But Frey and Krim pitied her, saying she was up in her head. After all, she only remembered how to use 2 of the skills. Well, it shouldn't be a big problem though. It was a friendly match, and they would be supported with guild funds regardless of winning or losing. Still, Krim was happy. Though taking a lot of detours, she finally got to fight together with her friends. And with that, the three were excited as they stepped into the arena. As they walked into the arena, the amount of spectators was way more than expected, to the point an AI commentator was deployed. Krim asked why are there so many people for a casual match, to which Elmir said he just wanted to advertise a bit, but it went out of his control. Still, it was time to start acting. Frey and Elmir acted all friendly together, though Krim and Freya thought it wouldn't fool anybody. Krim then apologized to the twin for pulling them into such a hassle, but Frey and Freya didn't mind. After all, once they worked together, it had always been rare for them to lose, with the exception of Freya, of course. On the other hand, they looked to Elmir's team, which also had 1 vanguard and 2 mages. How original. The three also went over the strategy one last time. Krim would go wild like usual, while Frey intercept the opponent's attack, and Freya would provide heal and status ailment cure. With that, both teams got ready, and before long, the commentator announced the start of the battle. As the battle started, Krim immediately rushed into Elmir. Though she was still worried about Freya, she wanted to buy some time so Freya could adjust herself to the battle. With that, Krim went straight for Elmir's head, but Elmir quickly dodged it. With all the cost Elmir had put in raising his status, he was surprisingly quick. Elmir then called out to his teammates, to which the 2 mages, one of them used Shock Strike to paralyze Krim for a short time, while the other one used Airbind, 2 restraining spells. It seemed they wanted to counter Krim, their strongest individual. Seeing this, Frey called out to Freya, telling her to cure Krim's status ailments, but Freya, being nervous, she used Heal. Huh? Everyone was confused.
Oh? Krim screamed. You're supposed to use Cure when I have a status ailment. To which Freya was crying, apologizing for messing up. On the other hand, Elmir was feeling confident. One-on-one fights really were different from team matches.
The situation seemed dire. With Krim being restrained, Frey urged Freya to use Cure again. This time, Frey swore she would do it correctly. But just as she was trying to chant her spell, one of the opponent mages used his projectile spell to shoot the staff out of Freya's hand. At this point, Elmir starts analyzing the battle. Seems like PvP is a little too much for Freya-chan. And that wizard Frey is right behind Krim-chan, so in his position, he won't be able to aim at me. If I can attack fast enough, I can take her down. Elmir then immediately charged at Krim. He stabbed the sword at her, but suddenly a voice called out, "Gale Storm!" Immediately, Krim was lifted into the air with a wind spell, avoiding Elmir's attack. It was none other than Frey. He accurately anticipated the attack and acted accordingly. Just then, the other mages noted that there were only 13 seconds left on the restraints, but they would take care of any interference for Elmir during that time. With that, Elmir charged at Krim's landing point, waiting for her to fall right into his attack. On the other hand, Frey asked if Freya still had trouble casting the Cure spell, to which she said that the other mages were preventing her from using it. Hearing this, Frey knew that he had no choice but to fight, drawing the attention of the mages. Thunderbolt! Frey launched an attack while one of the mages dealt with him and the other stayed focused on Freya. On the other hand, Krim is thinking, they've started fighting. I have to do something over here too. The fall damage from this height won't insta-kill me, but if Elmir attacks me while I'm defenseless, it'll be over for me. With only 8 seconds left till the restraints wear off, Elmir was certain that Krim would fall down faster than that. Krim herself was aware of it. She needed to somehow deal with the restraints quickly. Player Krim is about to fall on the ground. Meanwhile, player Elmir is already there on standby. Looking at Krim, they thought they would lose, but just then he noticed the opponent was chanting flame arrow spells, and he immediately came up with something. This skill is less powerful, but it's faster to cast. Just in time. Immediately, the other mage shot out Flame Arrow, while Frey blocked them with Aqua Shot. The two spells clashed, creating a big steam explosion. Little did they know, this was exactly what Frey was aiming for. With the steam hindering their sight, the mages couldn't keep track with Freya, and Frey shouted, "Freya!"
To which Freya was firm with her reply, I know, cure." Still, Elmir was certain that in that position there was nothing Krim could do. He thrust the sword at her, but suddenly his blade was deflected with a clean strike. Everyone around immediately realized the skill. This is... On the other hand, Krim said, "Well then, Ryunosuke, you wanted me to do some advertising, so shall I unveil it here? Katana skill, Shira Makuri." Standing in front of Elmir, Krim held her katana in a stance. The blade was cloaked with a dazzling ice power. The whole crowd erupted in excitement and awe, a skill they had never seen before. Amidst the crowd, there was a person holding her own katana. She said, "Found it! I found it!" The commentator continued, "What a surprise from player Krim! So far, no one else has been able to obtain one. She's the first to use a katana skill and has beautifully parried Elmir's attack with it." Seeing her, Freya was relieved she somehow made it in time. On the other hand, Krim smiled. The real fight starts now. Meanwhile, among the crowd, two people met with each other. Thanks for wait, they're on a roll. Yeah, it was a woman who was talking to a mysterious hooded man. It's rare to see you so excited just from watching a match. You think? For sure. Well, I found an interesting team, especially that white-haired girl.
Back to the battle, the commentator continued. Player Krim has just used one of the elusive katana skills, a magnificent unveiling. The twin was also impressed, but none of their expressions even come close to that of the opponent's team. So cool! The whole Elmir's team screamed in unison. What perfect timing to reveal a new skill, and it's a katana skill. I've fallen in love! No wonder Elmir's so into you. On the other hand, Krim was flustered with too many compliments. Elmir and the others are still blabbing on. Also, the way she parried the attack looked just like one of those lightsaber fights, and the way those ice effects spread out everywhere, it was just like watching cherry blossoms scatter as they fall. Everyone has shifted their attention from the battle to the katana. Just then, Elmir and the others finally realized they were still in the middle of the game. With a new skill revealed, Elmir noted that she could still have more tricks up her sleeve, which meant it was time for Elmir as the tank to do his job. Elmir then charged at Krim. He used one of his own skills, Spear Thrust,
but the attack was also parried by Krim using a quick draw motion. Thinking that Krim was too much of a close combat for him, Elmir called out to Gura, one of his mages, to try some magic on her. Immediately, Gura shot out a flame arrow. They were all cancelled out by Krim's attack. Still, it was enough for Elmir to gain some insight. I get it now. At the very least, when she parries a battle skill, her starting motion is always from an EI stance, a quick draw stance, which means her katana needs to be sheathed each time. She can't use it consecutively. With that, Elmir instructed his teammates to attack together, while Frey told Freya to be ready to cast heal at any moment. An onslaught of attacks is coming. Player Krim. She avoided it, and she slashes. Avoided again, and slashes again. It seems like nothing can hit her, but it looks like it's taking everything she's got just to parry. She can't move forward. Krim herself was uncertain if she could advance, but just then, Freya called out to her behind. Krim, we're good over here. We can handle the PvP atmosphere. Frey also looked at Krim. She smiled. Let's do this. Krim was taken aback for a moment, but she smiled. Now she understood that her friends got her back. With that, she began doing something crazy. Uh-oh, the commentator said. Player Krim, now she's taking a stance further away from the opponent? But little did they know, they were about to witness a powerful skill. As Krim took her stance, a flower symbol manifested behind her back, and around the flowers, 9 talisman characters appeared. I'll use it, Krim said. Secret Sword, Kokonoe.
The whole audience was covered in silence in anticipation. Player Krim has declared victory for her team. So, what's up with that pattern floating behind her? On the other hand, Elmir broke out a cold sweat. What? She's so far away from me, but she's taking a stance? And she said she'll finish this within a minute? And what the hell is Kokonoe? Just as Elmir was being uncertain, his eyes met Krim's eyes. And flashed. First strike, ring. Elmir barely managed to block it. So fast! She closed the distance in an instant. However, if I can stand firm, I'll endure it. But as Elmir dug his foot in the ground ready for the next attack, he suddenly lost his balance. This is... shit! Balance break! It's gotta be that guy Frey. He casted it at the perfect time. Suddenly, Krim turned away from Elmir. She dashed at Mash, Elmir's team healer. Second strike, pew. Krim immediately sliced off Mash's head, taking him out. She did it, the crowd erupted. Player Mash is out of the fight. The coordinated attack from player Krim and player Frey has eliminated the healer with flying colors. But wait, the attack isn't over. Krim then jumped at Gura, the other mage. Realizing that he couldn't dodge the attack, Gura tried to reinforce himself, covering his vital points. But Krim then tapped her at her stomach, signaling Frey something, and Frey caught on right away. Acid Piercer. Frey used a skill that corroded the target's equipment and defense and shot them at Gura's torso, making it vulnerable. Third strike, Toe. Gura was immediately cut in half, a deadly precision. One after another, the members of Elmir's team are dropping like flies. At this rate, forget 1 minute, it'll all be over in 30 seconds. Everyone, including Elmir, was terrified at their sudden improvement of teamwork. Shit, are you kidding me? All of a sudden, the quality of their teamwork, it's on a completely different level from before. Krim then took an II stance again, which startled Elmir, realizing that it was still not over. Fourth strike, Shah. Elmir tried to black, but the attack hit his neck. But to everyone's surprise, Elmir survived the attack. This is, despite receiving a direct hit to the neck, it wasn't a fatal blow. With the tank skill Guts, he avoided instant death. Guts. After activating the skill, the user can endure any fatal attack, surviving with only 1 HP. It was a high-level tank skill. With that, Elmir bet everything he had on this short end lag Krim was suffering and thrust his blade at her. This is the end! Suddenly, someone jumped in. It was Freya. She narrowly deflected the hit just enough so that it only hit her non-vital spot. Elmir recognized the skill she used to close the distance. What? That skill? Air Ride? Don't normally tanks take it? Air Ride is a skill allowing the tank to move quickly to a specific party member. Back before the match, Krim told him that at the proficiency level she had, she could only use 4 Kokonoe strikes. If somehow, after using all 4 and still couldn't deliver the decisive blow, Kokonoe will enter cooldown. At that point, Frey would try to back her up, but in case he also failed, they placed their trust upon Freya, to be able to protect Krim. Back to the match, after deflecting the attack, Freya held her staff firmly. She wound up and smacked Elmir in the head, taking out his last HP. Even I can do it when the time comes. It's over! Player Elmir is unable to fight! Krim was surprised. Freya really did become both a healer and a tank. All 3 members of Elmir's team have been eliminated from combat. This match, it's a victory for Krim's team. Looking at the two, Freya smiled happily. He only had 1 HP left, so I just went ahead and defeated him. After the match, the highlights of the game were broadcasted, and everyone was mesmerized by Krim's reaction time and abilities. On top of that, she was cute too. And they also noted Elmir's great performance. Back in the waiting room, Mash, Elmir's healer, was confessing his love to both Krim and Freya at the same time, which shocked everyone. He tried to send Krim a friend request, but couldn't. Turned out both of the girls had reached the max request limit, since everyone watching the fight was sending them their own requests. Looking at this, Freya couldn't help but let out her yandere side, saying she would manage Krim's friend requests while deleting all the friend requests Krim's received. On the other hand, Freya asked why he didn't get even 1 request. After that, Elmir confessed, though he wanted to recruit Krim's team through this event, he ended up really enjoying the battle, and he smiled and promised he would have his revenge in the upcoming Guild Rank Battle. Guild Rank Battle is a tournament-like system where various guilds compete with each other. It's a seasonal event that determines a guild's rank. It's said that as a guild's rank goes up, they'll receive some extra benefits, although the details on this are still unknown. Hearing this, Krim was excited. She asked about the rules, to which Elmir continued, "Each guild participating in teams of 5 will compete across a vast map, and they'll fight until only 1 team remains. It's a battle royale." Hearing this, the 3 of Krim's team each had a different reaction to it. Another thing to keep in mind, since the blowing population of Duo, many pro PvP players from other games were coming to this game. There are even pro teams with sponsors already. Basically, Duo was becoming a mainstream success. In fact, Elmir noted that there were already several guilds specialized in GVG, guild versus guild battle. Hearing this, Krim was excited, asking the names of those guilds. First, there's a guild focused on attack where all the members are Beastmen Vanguards, Black Wolf Squad. Whether they win or lose, it always happens in an instant. The next is a production-focused guild that's been attracting attention, Tokai Company. Their selling point is that they have the best equipment and can hire outrageously expensive mercenaries. The next is a ladies' guild that's strangely strong for some reason, Lily Garden. They're terrible people who attack with the overwhelming power of money. Though there were several other guilds also, there were ones that are especially insane. Those were Nord Glacier, led by Sa Leon, and Azure Dragon Tempest, led by Shao. These guilds are bad news, as they were killing every area boss they meet on the way and are the 2 current favorites to win. Hearing this, Freya was worried. On the other hand, Krim and Frey were also worried over the fact that those 2 guilds had such cool names, and they were worried if they could come up with a name that cool. The 2 then began coming up with several names, but all of them sounded more edgy than cool.
Well, on the other hand, Elmir asked if they should focus on gathering guild members for the time being. Though there wasn't an exact date, there were rumors it would be happening soon. With that, Elmir transferred the promised guild creation fee. Krim thanked him. She also asked if the flaming online had died down, to which Elmir said it had gotten a lot better. With that, Elmir and the others bid them farewell, promising that the next time, their guild Silverwing will win. After that, Krim and the twin went back to their main problem, finding 2 new guild members. Freya asked if there was a specific role Krim wanted from a new member, to which Krim said that she would like a vanguard, since currently the burden of defending the rear guard was too much for Krim alone. Freya then asked, "What kind of person do you want?" Hearing this, Frey replied, "Isn't stamina a must? In that case, maybe a big muscular guy. It'd be good if they were 2 meters tall. I want someone who can make another person cry with how fierce they look." Just as they were joking, Krim bumped into another person, an orc, and Krim was taken aback. Though the guy met all of their requirements, that orc guy didn't even look like a player, so they just crossed each other with their fate never meant to be. Well, it was useless being impatient, so the twins said they would log out for today and said goodbye to Krim. With that, Krim sat there on a bench thinking about how she would find 2 new members. As she sat there, she thought, In real life, it's already evening, but inside the game, there's really nice weather. With that, Krim slowly spaced out and fell asleep. Just then, someone walked up to Krim. It was a fox-like girl. She said, "Hello, I finally found—" Huh? She fell asleep? Looking at her, the girl smiled. She drew her katana and said, "This is my chance."
First, the girl borrowed Krim's hand and made her hold the katana. The girl then started rustling, and before long, Krim woke up to find that there was a katana on her hands strapped with random items. Huh? What is this? And who is she? A player? No, an NPC event? On the other hand, the girl continued with her work. She entered her player name, Hinagiku, in the data bar, thinking if she deletes her character data and recreates it, she will obtain katana skills. Well, that method sounded like bullshit, and Krim realized that too as she broke out from all the items and screaming, telling Hinagiku to wait. Hinagiku, on the other hand, was terrified that she got caught, but she didn't want Krim to run away. But Krim assured her she wouldn't run. More importantly, she questioned what Hinagiku was trying to do, deleting her own character data like that. Turns out, Hinagiku was following some false information on the bulletin board about how to obtain katana skills, thinking that Krim was an NPC she was looking for. Krim quickly clarified that she was a player, to which Hinagiku apologized for causing trouble, though she couldn't hide her disappointed expression. Seeing this, Krim felt bad and offered her something to eat. While having a light meal, they introduced each other. Looking at Hinagiku, Krim thought, "Is this girl a beast man? She's a really small kid. It's pretty unusual for a little girl like her to play online games, isn't it? My dad always said that parents normally disapprove of it." Still, Krim tried to spark a conversation. "I've been wondering, how did you get that katana?" "Hinagiku bought it from a shop near here." Hearing this, Krim was surprised they sell it in Wyndham. But Hinagiku said for some reasons, even though many could buy and own it, if they didn't have any katana skills, they wouldn't even be able to unsheath it. Hinagiku then continued, "That's when I saw One-chan. You were so strong, pretty, and cool. That's why Hinagiku wants to become your master." Saying that, Hinagiku couldn't hide her true motive of wanting to obtain the katana skills, and Krim noticed it. Well, since the information about the quest was taken by Ryonosuke as his split reward, Krim decided to call Ryonosuke for help. After hearing Krim's situation, Ryonosuke said he understood, but he would still demand money. But Hinagiku was poor, though. Krim tried to defend her, telling Ryonosuke she was just in elementary school. But Ryonosuke quickly laughed it off, assuring her that he was just joking. Ryonosuke then continued, "This uncle was going to distribute the information about the katana skills soon. But along with that, I was also planning on selling the swords made in Kamei Pass. I collected all of the materials and gave them to the Oni tribe. I then had them make your katana, and everything was going well, but..." Hearing this, Krim couldn't help but think that Ryonosuke had such a strong business spirit. Ryonosuke then continued, saying there was a new problem where the Oni refused to make the katanas, and Ryonosuke was then given a new event, which meant he needed their help in exchange for the information about the skills. Hearing this, Hinagiku happily agreed right away. Meanwhile, outside the real world, Hijiri was going shopping. She and her friends went through various items, yet Hijiri thought that it was too expensive. After a while, all of her friends had decided what they were going to get, though Hijiri was still uncertain. Just then, she received a call. It was Krim, or Hiju that Hijiri referred to him. He asked Hijiri if she was going shopping, then said he needed her help in duo, asking if she could come to Kamei Pass at 8 p.m., which Hijiri smiled and accepted. That night, Krim and Hinagiku arrived at the Kamei Pass. Hinagiku was excited to see a whole world full of Onis. Just then, someone called out for Krim. It was Frey and Freya. They had arrived as they promised. The twins introduced themselves to Hinagiku, thinking that she really was an elementary schooler. On the other hand, Hinagiku was rather shy. She hid behind Krim, saying, "Nice to meet them." Freya asked if Hinagiku felt nervous. On the other hand, Frey was worried. He thought that Krim was starting to take advantage of her appearance and tricked little girls, to which Krim frantically denied the allegation. There was also supposed to be Ryunosuke, but he just told Krim to figure it out her own way, leaving them to their own devices. Still, the four of them decided to get to work. First, they wanted to split up and look for clues. Frey would try asking the blacksmiths, while Hinagiku checked out the food stalls. On the other hand, Krim decided she would find Mato to ask her.
After looking around, Krim saw Mato. She was sitting at the edge of a cliff looking at the night sky. Krim tried calling out to her, "Mato-san," to which Mato noticed her and said, "Oh, it's you. I did tell you to come again, but I didn't think you would come back in just 3 days." Hearing this, Krim said, "Huh? Am I bothering you?" But Mato assured her, "No, I'm glad. This place doesn't change at all. So then, what do you need from me?" Hearing this, Krim said that it was about Ryunosuke, to which Mato referred to him as the shady-looking guy. Mato then explained the situation. The reason why they can't forge any katanas is because they don't have the steel of hatred to forge it with. Steel of hatred? It's a certain type of steel that is filled with hatred and anger. It's perfect for forging a sword into a demon sword. These demon swords are the only ones we use. Hearing this, Krim was taken aback. Ryunosuke really was trying to sell these things. Mato then continued. The men who went into the mine, they didn't come back. There are rumors saying that it was due to some accident or that it was because of a monster. I don't really care about it though. Huh? Even though the men in the village died? Well, they probably forgot to pray at the shrine or something. That's why they were cursed to death. Hearing this, Krim broke out a cold sweat at the thought of a curse. Mato asked if she wasn't good with this kind of scary thing, to which Krim tried to act tough, saying she was fine. Hearing that, Mato immediately gave her a quest to investigate the sacred mountain, Mount Rakume, a hallowed place where lost souls wander. Hearing this, Krim was genuinely terrified. Mato then asked if she wasn't scared at all, to which Krim still tried to play it off, though her voice trembled.
After receiving the location from Mato, Krim was checking it out. Though a sacred mountain sounded scary, it was a lot closer to Wyndham than it was to Naval. The levels of the enemies there probably weren't that high. Mato then also said that Krim could mine whatever she wanted there. And with that, after a while, the team arrived at Mount Rakume. Looking at the entrance, they couldn't help but feel a horror vibe from it. The quest's objectives are to find the cause of the disappearance of the Onis and to resolve the underlying issue. One of the Onis from the village will show us the way there. Still, before they could even start, Krim already said that it didn't look like anything special and asked to go home. Hearing this, Hinagiku was surprised. They hadn't even come in yet. Just then, Frey explained that Krim really wasn't a fan of scary things. Basically, she was scared. Hearing this, Hinagiku thought that she was cute, but Krim absolutely tried to deny the fact that she was scared, though her face was genuinely terrified. Still, she insisted that the only reason those things startled her was because they used loud sounds to jump scare, not that she was scared. Just as Krim said that, she turned around to see a monster looking at her. Its head was just a skull with a blindfold. Even though it didn't make any noise, Krim was terrified. She screamed and slapped the monster, taking it out instantly. Krim then offered Hinagiku to hold her hand so Hinagiku wouldn't get scared, though we all know she herself was the one who needed it. But she accidentally left it slip that she didn't plan on becoming Hinagiku's master, to which Hinagiku said she wouldn't let Krim hold her hand, making Krim regret it. After that, as they walked along the mountain, the Oni said that they could find a lot of interesting ore there. Long ago, a meteorite landed nearby. As a result of that, this whole stretch of land was turned inside out. Many villages were vaporized and countless deaths occurred. Soon afterwards, this place became avoided for being so closely associated with death. However, because of all of the high-quality materials, people from all of the races have begun to gather here again. Nonetheless, the bedrock here is fragile, and accidents are common. It's a mountain where many lose their lives and fall into the underworld. It came to be known as Mount Rakume. The grudges of the dead have grown stronger year by year, a steel filled with pent-up resentment. When harvested, it becomes the steel of hatred. The spirits around here are only just mischievous, but the deeper you go, the more evil the spirits will become. If you don't want to be taken away, you should pray at the shrine ahead. Hearing this, Hinagiku said that it was pretty authentic, while Frey told Krim they should investigate the area before heading deeper. Little did he know, Krim was already praying with the Oni of the shrine. A while later, they finally arrived, at the entrance of the mine.
Hearing this, both Freya and Hinagiku were excited, while Frey and Krim decided they could wait to see if something would happen while digging. With that, the whole team got into digging. First was Freya. She swung the pickaxe into the stones, and an ore dropped out. Look!
I got some steel of hatred," Freya happily said, while Hinagiku also got something else. The team was having fun mining for ore. Just then, Krim noticed something. A bag. "What's with this bag?" Krim asked, to which Frey said it seemed like a loot bag. When a player dies, their valuable resources get dropped as a penalty. Specifically, ores and other similar items are classified as valuable resources. A ghost must have attacked them while they were mining. While Krim and Frey were discussing if they should leave the loot there, Hinagiku ran to them. She urged Krim to see what was in one of her arms, several bags of ores, and Hinagiku said that there were tons of those loot bags back there also. Hearing this, Krim followed Hinagiku, and as they walked over the corner, she could see a field filled with these loot bags. This amount, there's no way this is just from one party. Was everyone gathered here and then annihilated? Frey then asked if this was due to a monster, but Krim believed that there were hardly any monsters around. Perhaps the game treated those who got spirited away as deaths. Just then, Krim noticed something unusual. Arrows? No, are these crossbow bolts? And what's more, these arrows were lodged into the ground at a weird angle. Krim then looked above, and she speculated that these bolts might have been shot from some above the cliff. On top of that, Frey noted that as he went through these loot bags, there were only regular iron ore inside, and all of the rare ore is unnaturally absent, which meant the rare ore might have been pilfered from all of these bags. Hearing this, it dawned on them. They were likely being ambushed. This is bad. I left Freya behind. Meanwhile, Freya was enjoying mining, but over the corner, there was a cloaked person, their hands holding a crossbow. Just as that person aimed at Freya and shot, Krim managed to run back to her in time, and she drew her sword, deflecting the arrow. Just then, a group of mysterious people showed up, surrounding them. In the middle, a woman smiled menacingly and said, "Sorry, but your rare ore, I'll kindly ask you to leave it all behind. Ore is treated as a precious commodity around here, so killing and stealing is a given." Looking at those mysterious people, Krim thought, the worst-case scenario, player killers. With how many players have been killed, it doesn't seem like they're a makeshift PK party. They look more like a PK guild to me. Krim then said to the woman, "Just as I thought, those loot bags from earlier, it was your party." Taking away the ore other players rightfully collected, that's not a very commendable act, wouldn't you say? But the woman didn't feel any remorse. Since PKing is allowed by this game's mechanics, it's a fully fledged playstyle, isn't it? Don't be too hasty now. One of the PK members even said that it was Krim's fault for going into a PK-enabled area, even bringing such a rare enemy as an Oni. Since Oni dropped a lot of rare ore, they were actively being hunted, hence the truth behind them being spirited away. Hearing this, Krim finally understood the situation. The target for the subjugation quest they took is the party of PK players. There are plenty of games out there where attacking an NPC causes them to have hostile behavior, but the fact that they were even able to order a quest? Hearing that they were becoming the target for a quest, the woman laughed confidently, saying that it would just help bring more players to them so they could hunt them down along with the Onis. Looking at them, Frey was worried that their opponents seemed pretty used to killing players, but on the other hand, Krim assured him that since it wasn't a ghost, it wasn't a problem. Hearing this, the woman was ticked off. It seemed she didn't like the fact that Krim wasn't afraid of her. Then Krim went ahead and said, "You guys seem pretty comfortable dealing with players, but don't get too comfortable." To which the woman was furious. "This damn brat, I'll fuck you up." With that, the battle began. Krim told Freya and Hinagiku to step back, but the woman grinned and asked if she was the one Krim really wanted to pay attention to. Hearing this, Krim immediately realized that the woman was a distraction. Suddenly, behind Krim, one of the PK players jumped out, ambushing Hinagiku and Freya. The PK player attacked Hinagiku first, to which she barely blocked the attack with her sword, but the clash made her tumble to the ground. It seemed the PK squad had already surrounded them from the start. They were smug, Considering the PK player chose Hinagiku instead of attacking the rear guard first, they seemed confident that they would win. Though Hinagiku was fine, the PK player laughed, saying he would see Hinagiku again later, before dashing away, regrouping with his party. Assessing the situation, Krim thought she should be more careful. Just then, the woman smiled, asking if Krim would dance with her. Suddenly, a massive group of monsters appeared. It seemed the guy that ambushed Hinagiku earlier deliberately lured a large amount of monsters with him, taking them to Krim's team. The situation was dire for Krim and the others, while the PK party was laughing, pitying them. But just when things seemed like they couldn't get any worse, one of the PK players with a crossbow said it was time to raise the tempo and shot arrows at Krim and the others from above. As Krim's party gets hit by the crossbowman, Krim calls out to Freya, asking her for a recovery spell. Hearing that, Freya quickly healed Krim and Frey, but just as Freya was about to heal the Oni, another PK player, a vanguard, jumped down with a battle axe in his hand. He said, "So, looks like you're the healer, eh? It's such a pain in the ass when everyone starts recovering. I'll start off with you." The vanguard then charged at Freya, intending to attack her, but the Oni and their team jumped in and blocked the attack. Seeing this, Krim wanted to support the Oni, as they were in a situation where losing just one member would certainly lead to defeat. But before she could, the ambush player once again got in Krim's way, not letting her go. On the other hand, Hinagiku and the twin were struggling, holding the monsters back. Seeing everyone was tied up, Frey wanted to take care of the crossbowman on the hill, but he was too busy dealing with the monsters. What's more, they are still getting shot down by the crossbow.
Shit. Their level of teamwork is such a pain in the ass. The supporting fire from up top is so accurate. I can't even counterattack. They're much better than I thought they would be. Fortunately, the Oni is being treated as an NPC, so he isn't being targeted by the monsters at all. Hopefully, he can keep the halberdier at bay. Just then, Frey looked at the halberdier from the PK team, and he noticed that the halberdier also hadn't been targeted by the monsters at all. Don't tell me he's an NPC? Wait, maybe there's some way to not be targeted by monsters. Frey then looked at the guy who lured the monsters coming, but it seemed that guy was still being targeted like usual, though he was staying aware of his surroundings. So then, why only him? Maybe there's some kind of condition. Just then, Freya screamed. There was a nail and a hammer appeared before her. As the nail aimed at her, the hammer repeatedly hammered the nail down, each time getting closer to her. Freya tried to use Cure, or swatting it away, but none of them worked, and the nail kept getting closer. Looking at her, Krim recognized it, a delayed activation attack skill. If it isn't canceled in time, it'll probably deal serious damage, or even a one-hit kill. Just then, the monsters gathered closer, and the ambush player decided to run away. Though Krim did want to take him down, she knew that she didn't have time to care about him, as behind her, she was blocked by a wall of monsters. Still, Krim was determined. Let's break through this and hurry over to Freya's side. Meanwhile, the crossbowman asked if Krim's team would just die already. They had gotten her team surrounded by cliffs, blocking out their escape route while filling the area with monsters. In a place like that, it was hopeless for them from the get-go. On the other hand, Freya was terrified. "Hold on, I'm getting nailed!" While Frey was struggling to find out which monster was attacking Freya. Looking at them, the woman smiled, thinking it was over for them. With Krim getting isolated from the team, Hinagiku said she would go help her, but the crossbowman quickly shot her in the shoulder, not letting her move. Frey then thought, "This is bad. We've only managed to hold out so far thanks to Freya's recovery skills. If Freya is incapacitated, all of our HP will be whittled away until we're done for. If I ignore the ones aggroed on me, Hinagiku, and Krim, the monster that's going after Freya is..." Just then, he noticed something. From afar, there was a monster. It's not attacking, it's just staring right at Freya. Maybe that's the one actually attacking her. Still, there's way too many enemies. There's no way I can get over there. This might be a checkmate. Looking at Frey, one of the girls from the PK party grinned. She intended to use Frey as her headshot practice, but suddenly, something hit her shoulder. Huh? A dagger? How?
But just as the girl was confused, she looked up to see another dagger come flying toward her. It pierced through her head, killing her instantly.
Her teammates were startled. They crouched down to the ground trying to find out who it was that threw the dagger at them. But just as one PK player looked down, she realized who was the one that attacked them. It was Krim. That white-haired girl did it. She could throw it from that kind of range? And wait, like, why the hell is she attacking us? Does she know the situation she's in? What's more, it seemed Krim wasn't being targeted by the monster. Hearing this, the leader asked if Krim found out the way to not getting targeted, but another denied that possibility, saying if she knew about it, her other teammates would be targeted also. On the other hand, Krim noticed the PK group had stopped attacking. She hoped she could do something about the monster attacking Freya. Just then, Frey called out to her. "Krim, the one targeting Freya is over there. I don't know why it's not targeting you, but can you get there?" Hearing that, Krim affirmed and went after the monster. Seeing this, the crossbowman tried to stop her by shooting at her, but Krim deflected all of the attacks with her katana skill, to which the PK group immediately realized it was Krim from the recent viral PvP match. On the other hand, Frey wondered how Krim wasn't targeted by the monsters, to which the Oni answered, saying that Krim had gotten divine protection by offering up a prayer to the shrine, which Krim did at the start. It granted her protection from the monsters. Hearing this, Frey thought it made sense. After all, it wouldn't be weird for there to be a buff available so people can mine comfortably. Krim then jumped at the monster, winding up her blade. She said that that was as far as the monster could go. Krim sliced the monster down in half, which made the nails attacking Freya disappeared. Freya was so relieved her leg gave out. Freya then immediately took their chance, telling the team to break out of the monster horde in order to escape. Seeing this, the PK players tried to shoot at them, but the Oni helped blocking the shots. Freya then asked if it was okay to leave Krim behind, but Freya assured her that with Krim's physical stats, she would be fine. But it wasn't that easy. Suddenly, as Krim was about to flee, the woman, leader of the PK party, stopped her in her tracks. "Krim!" Frey called out to her worried, but Krim smiled, telling him to take everyone else and go on ahead. On the other hand, the woman ordered the PK team to stop them. With that, Krim and the PK leaders squared up against each other. As the leader looked at Krim, she said, "A brat wearing default gear? I'll forgive you if you apologize right now, and while you're at it, why not try some of my old gear?" Hearing this, Krim said, "What a joke. I won't forgive you for targeting Freya and the others." To which the leader said, "In that case, it's hunting time." Having said that, the two of them clashed swords. As they glared at each other, the leader said, "That was a nice katana skill there. You get someone to buy it for you? After all, you're both small and cute. And that red robe, it's not like me either. It stands out too much." But her mocking didn't faze Krim. Krim bashed her rapier away, startling the leader. But before the leader could react, Krim immediately got behind her and attacked, saying she talked too much. The leader managed to block the attack, but she was clearly taken aback. This power, just how much did she put into her strength stat? With that stat distribution, she'll instantly trip and lose control. But that wasn't the case at all. Krim followed through with a flurry of attacks, overwhelming the leader. What? What's with her? This is ridiculous. Someone in noob gear shouldn't have movement this good. Bullshit. Just a bit more distance. If I lose after taunting her this much, no. If I lose to some brat who used default equipment. As the leader struggled to defend the attacks, she wondered just what the hell Krim was. Just then, she recognized something. Huh? Her fighting style. I've seen it somewhere. On the other hand, Krim smiled. "You've gotten a lot quieter now, you know? You can talk more if you really want to." Though internally, Krim understood that this woman was good with reading people's attacks to be able to keep up with her. So Krim would have to trust Frey to get the other teammates out. On the other hand, as Krim's team was getting away, Freya was still worried about Krim, though Frey assured her she would be okay, and they should focus on cutting off the monsters after them first. On top of that, there were monsters up ahead. One of the monsters jumped up. It charged its energy beam and shot at the team. As they barely avoided the attack, Freya asked if Frey had something up his sleeve, but Frey said not really, to which Freya screamed, saying he was no help at all. Freya and Hinagiku then started roasting Frey, saying he only wears glasses to look smart.
Freya even tried to snatch the book away from Frey, saying she would make strategy now, to which Frey scoffed, saying she would only make him lose IQ. Suddenly, the halberdier caught up with them and asked if they were having fun. "He's coming after us," Hinagiku said. To which he responded, "Of course I am. Did you really think I'd just smile and wave goodbye?" No, I wasn't thinking that." "Well then, you've accepted your death." The halberdier then charged at Freya, but just as he attacked, Hinagiku jumped in and blocked the attack with her own attack.
Seeing this, everyone was surprised. Frey thought to himself, she parried a halberd with just her sword? All while she was mid-air. Come to think of it, that surprise attack, she was also able to react to it and fend it off. I just assumed she was a beginner, but she's surprisingly good. Frey then decided to ask Hinagiku to take care of the halberdier's attacks. On the other hand, the Oni called for their attention. Another monster was charging up its energy beam. It shot the beam at the ground and sliced it toward the team. Though they managed to avoid the attack again, the blast hit the cliff nearby, making it collapse, almost hitting Hinagiku. Realizing that staying near the cliff to avoid getting shot by a crossbow might still be dangerous, Frey asked if he could entrust the Oni to be their shield instead. Frey then rallied the team. "Get away from the cliff, let's cut through this horde of monsters. Freya, support the Oni with healing." As the team ran away, the PK players from above were frustrated. "Damn it, those guys keep hiding behind that rare enemy. He's stupidly tanky. What am I gonna do?" Just because they teamed up with them, it's now this much of a problem for us. At this rate, these guys really are gonna break through. Just then, the PK team noticed one of their members, the ambush player. They were confused where this guy had been hiding at first, but then realized that he had gone down the descent route and gathered up all the monsters to lure them going against Frey and the others. No way, he really did it. He's actually kind of useful. At this rate, those guys will run straight into the monster train and be trapped for sure this time. Meanwhile, Freya and Hinagiku saw the monsters coming. They realized it was a pincer attack. Freya felt desperate. She asked, "Frey, I can activate a taunt skill since I'm a tank. Should I lure the monsters away? I'm the weakest one in the group. Instead of getting the party wiped, I'd rather be the only one eliminated." But to her surprise, Frey smiled and said, "No one needs to be sacrificed. I finally came up with an idea." Hearing this, Freya and Hinagiku immediately switched to glazing Frey, saying his glasses weren't fake after all, though they really were fake since it was in-game. On the other hand, the PK players wondered what the team was fussing about since they were running head-on into the monsters. They told each other to aim at them as soon as they stopped moving. Back to the team, Frey said, "Now then, I'll tell you guys our new strategy. Listen up, don't miss a single word." "Yes, sir." Frey then continued, "Starting with Freya, you'll bait out all the monsters." Hearing this, Freya asked, "Huh?" To which Frey continued, "Well, you are playing tank, so it's all up to you." Hearing this, Freya and Hinagiku said that Frey was too mean.
Nonetheless, Freya really had a tank for real now. Though she believed she knew what she was doing now, as Frey and Hinagiku asked if she was ready, Freya still ended up trembling in fear. Still, they began the operation. Looking at them, the PK player was confused. They split into two groups. Which one do you think is the decoy? No clue, but when they run into monsters, be sure to finish off the group that the monsters are most aggro on first. On the other hand, as they were about to clash head-on against the monster group, the Oni asked if the plan would work, to which Frey said he himself wasn't sure. Still, the job was simple. First was Freya. She would need to stay a certain distance away from Frey while waiting for his signal. As the enemy is already pretty close, Freya readied herself. Meanwhile, the PK player saw them about to bump into the monsters. She smiled and aimed her crossbow at them, ready to attack. Just then, Frey gave Freya the signal, and Freya said she would count on Hinagiku to guard her, to which Hinagiku said she would. Freya then smashed her staff on the ground, activating her skill. Taunt provoked targets around the user to become most hostile towards the user. Immediately, all the monsters changed direction toward her. The PK players saw this and asked if they had given up and decided to make Freya bait. Meanwhile, as one of the monsters turned away from Frey and the Oni, Frey called out to the Oni, telling him to proceed with the plan. "Honestly, this is our best bet, but I can't guarantee this is going to work." Still, then Frey and the Oni targeted the monster that had just turned away. Wind magic, gale storm, battle art, heaven reversal. Both of them attacked the monster. Seeing this, the PK players on the cliff were confused why they would do that. But suddenly, they realized Frey and the Oni's attacks had a knockback, and it was sending the monster right at them. Clash! As the monster was thrown at the cliff where the crossbow PK players were standing, its impact shattered the platform, making them fall down. This was Frey's plan, as earlier it was noted to him by the Oni that the bedrock around the area is apparently extremely brittle. On the other hand, under the cliff, the ambush player was terrified. The whole cliff was collapsing on him. He screamed as the debris fell down, burying him and the monsters. Meanwhile, the crossbow players managed to survive somehow. "They're completely reckless," one of them said, while the other tried to pull her up. Looking at the aftermath, they said, "Not bad. They weren't completely wiped out, but a huge chunk of our monsters were killed. No clue if the rest of our team is safe either. Using each other as monster bait? Even we wouldn't do that. They really don't give a shit about their comrades."
The crossbowman then said that Freya and Hinagiku were definitely dead after that, and said they should focus on taking down Frey and the Oni. But just then, from inside the dust, something dashed out. Looking at them, Frey smiled. Like I said, no one has to be sacrificed. It was none other than Freya and Hinagiku. Freya was carrying Hinagiku, using her air ride skill to escape the debris. The plan worked perfectly. On the other hand, the PK players were shocked. "Wah, they're alive!" Like, she picked up air ride too? We've been played. And what's more, the distance between the two groups after they split up, it was the maximum range of the air ride. Everything had been planned from the start. As the two groups reunited, the Oni laughed, saying Freya and Hinagiku looked like they enjoyed it, to which the two said they really did. After all, they never thought air ride could be used as an escape skill. Frey then said it was not time to celebrate yet, as the monsters and PK players were still after them. But he himself couldn't hide how hyped he was, having his plan worked out, which Freya scoffed at him for. The team then took advantage of the dust cloud from the landslide, intended to shake the enemy off with it. Meanwhile, over the distance, Krim noticed the landslide, noting that they were doing something flashy over there. But more importantly, before Krim, the PK leader was kneeling on the ground. One of her legs was severed. She was also sustaining several other injuries. This, the leader thought, is the embodiment of pure battle sense. I'm getting déjà vu from this fight. I remember, she and we've met before in another game.
Back to the big group, the PK players, realizing that Frey's team had vanished into the dust, were wondering if they should catch them. But the other crossbowman, with an unusual equipment on his face, assured them, "Nah, it's fine. I can see them." Meanwhile, back at the 1v1, the leader thought to herself, "I've fought this little shit before, at least in some other game. I remember that it's one of those swordplay-based games, but a knight with a red cape. Even though I'm fighting some white-haired shithead, I'm getting flickering memories of him. I can at least guess that they're the same person, but I can't remember anything else. Am I stupid? I'm missing a leg. It doesn't matter who she is. I just have to get away somehow." Krim then walked toward the leader, saying, "I don't like tormenting others, so I'll end it now." But just then, the leader said, "Wait, it's pretty obvious I can't fight anymore. I surrender. Just let me go." Hearing this, Krim said it was surprising for a PK player to beg for their life, to which the leader had to swallow her pride, admitting that she was just that type of person. But Krim seemed to immediately figure out her true reason why she would throw away her pride to beg for mercy. Krim grinned and asked, "By any chance, that rare ore you stole, you didn't leave it in a storehouse, did you?" The question startled the leader, but she tried to deny it, saying, Oi, no way. Do I look that stupid to you?" Hearing Krim said she was right, no one would be so stupid, and both of them laughed. But Krim then said, "I guess I'll kill you just to make sure." You little shit." "Little shit? No, that's not..." The leader desperately found a way out. Just then, she noticed from behind Krim, one of the PK players was running to her rescue. "That guy, he's back. But why? Whatever, this is my chance. It'll be 2 again." With that, the leader tried to buy some time, saying, "I'll give you 1/3 of the rare ore we stole. There's no way the rest of the idiots in my party would notice that much of it missing." But to her surprise, Krim asked if she was really controlling all of her team's rare ore by herself. Realizing she just talked herself into a dead end, the leader tried to play it off. That's not it. That was just a slip of the tongue. From me, personally. A third of it to you, okay? But Krim genuinely put a smug grin on her face, asked, How you about all of it? Hearing this, the leader scoffed. You rat bastard! You dare to make fun of those seniors to you?
The leader thought that everything about Krim was infuriating, but at least she had bought some time for her. The leader then immediately used her battle art skill Banish at the ground, creating a smokescreen. Then, from inside it, she blasted out a flurry of Rain Blast. Still, it couldn't catch Krim off guard. She dodged the attack and rapidly closed the distance. Get away from me, the leader said, but Krim hit the sword away from the leader's hand. Looking at the flying sword, the leader was taken aback, and as Krim was about to finish her off, she begged for one last mercy. Just then, the ambush player showed up behind Krim, swinging his axe at her. Krim was startled. He's back? Don't tell me Frey and the others got killed. On the other hand, the leader was relieved. Ha, you idiot. Just like that, you're dead. But to surprise, Krim stomped on her face, using it as a platform to dash away from the attack. Holding onto her nose, the leader said, The sheer disrespect. Hurry up and kill her. As the ambush player tried to activate his battle art skill, Krim stomped her foot on the axe handle while it was midway, canceling the move before it activated. You've got to save your big moves for the right moments, Krim said as she stabbed the katana at his throat. But just as she thought it was over for him, her attack turned out a little off the mark, which meant it didn't count as an insta-kill. The ambush player then grabbed her hand, but Krim decided that she would just continue to cut through, taking him down. Suddenly, Krim heard a stabbing sound, and her HP bar began rapidly depleting. It was none other than the PK leader. She used the ambush player as a blind spot, piercing her sword through him to get a cheap shot on Krim. Both the ambush player and Krim were shocked. On the other hand, the leader laughed. Ha ha! Isn't it sweet, the feeling of violently stabbing such a cocky little girl? I wonder, was this the right moment for me to save my big move for? She then told the confused ambush player to hold on to Krim while she activated her skill, Battle Art, Lethal Piercing. Several lances began shooting through the ambush player's back, hitting Krim. Bullshit, the ambush player muttered as his body slowly dissipated into the air. The leader then smiled. You gave me way too hard of a time. Just then, she noticed something. That son of a... She gained distance quickly with her feet? Krim managed to just barely dodge a few of the shots, but her HP was really close to depleted. Seeing this, the leader said, You really are a tenacious little brat. Well, that's fine. You've only got a sliver of HP left. No critical hit bullshit now. After all, you distanced yourself from me. What a bad move, the leader said, as she pulled out her hidden card, a gun. Only one shot and you're dead, you know.
Oh, how the tables have turned. And all of this when you could have just agreed to my offer. Did you get too greedy? Hearing this, Krim didn't say anything, to which the leader decided it was a wrap and pulled the trigger. Bang! The first shot missed, ripping a hole in Krim's cloak. I missed? She keeps darting around. Okay, don't rush. All I need to do is hit her. Now! Bang! The second shot fired, but it missed Krim just slightly. Again? Calm down. Just one shot. That's all I need with how little HP she has left. If I can just land this one shot, then I'll get the win. There's no way someone can dodge bullets. The leader then fired multiple shots, but Krim managed to avoid them all. Are you kidding me? She's legit dodging everything. This movement. Wait, this movement. Back in that one large-scale combat VR MMO I play, there's no mistake. Back then, it was during the siege battle in the game World Crisis. We could see the leader, along with the other members in the PK team in that game. As the enemy team was ranked lower than they were, it was going smoothly and there wasn't much to do. Just then, the other team broke through the main gate. Seeing this, the leader said, Oh, they made it. The enemy team has come to say hi. I'll leave the defense of the flank to you all. As always, prioritize attacking the ones going after the orb.
Now then, she said, shouldn't I do my job too? First off, I'll take out that knight up front who's coming in solo on a suicide run. What an idiot. She then said as she fired her first shot at the knight, you aren't even trying to vary up your movements. Fucking noob. Bang! The shot slightly missed the knight. Whoa, one of the PK members said. Did he just dodge that? Well, the leader said it was surely just a fluke. She continued firing shots at the knight, but he managed to avoid them. At this point, the leader realized that the knight was seriously dodging the bullets. On the other hand, the knight's teammates ask each other, whoa, as usual, the headhunter is literally dodging everything, just as I'd expect from my rival. The headhunter? One of them asked. What's up with that disturbing nickname? Oh, is this your first time seeing Krim the headhunter? Can he really see bullets? Of course he can't. He's provoking his opponent to attack. With that, he can predict the moment they'll pull the trigger. Someone who's moving erratically is hard to aim at, so someone running in a straight line would be a good target, right? The headhunter does move unpredictably at first, like you'd expect, but then, for just a second, he'll mix in some movement that's easy to read. Of course, the enemy would take the shot. So then, at this point, he can more or less guess exactly when he'll be shot at. Not only that, their eye movement when they've locked on, the movement of their finger pulling the trigger, the steadiness of their arm when they prepare to shoot, by reading all of these, he can then use his extraordinary sense of hand-eye coordination to evade the shot. And with that, Krim had closed a distance. She sliced off the leader's gun-holding arm. As the flintlock rolled on the ground, the leader said, I remember now. You're that head-hunting Red Knight, aren't you? Hearing this, Krim said, it's not the Red Knight, it's the Crimson Knight. Not that I particularly care or anything. Not at all. Oh, fuck off. You totally care. Realizing this, the leader was desperate. Shit, out of all the people that could have shown up, why did it have to be Krim the headhunter? Shit, of course that PvP file would start playing duo. On the other hand, it seemed Krim was worrying about something else. Welp, I'm boned. Looks like she knows who I am. What if she starts to spread the rumor that I'm a guy in reality? Krim then thought about a future where people knew her true gender, on top of the fact that she would be stuck in game for 3 months. She knew it was going to be bad.
Krim said she would let the leader go as long as the leader kept all this a secret, but before she could finish, the leader accidentally let it slip, revealing that she couldn't tell her gender back then due to her full set of armor covering anything, believing now that Krim was really a girl. So Krim quickly corrected herself, saying she would never let the leader go. Seeing this, the leader tried saying something, I see. Well, are you sure your party's going to be okay then? You and I both know that there's small fry. If you don't hurry, they'll be wiped out. I could stop that from happening, and isn't being the carry such a pain? I also know firsthand how hard it is. But to her surprise, it seemed her words ended ticking Krim off as she glared at her and said, I'm not a carry, and Frey and the others aren't just small fry. So, if it's fine with you, how about we just spend a little more time together? Hearing this, the leader was terrified. She tried to crawl away, urging Krim not to get close. But as she tried to back off, her own shadow was restrained and she couldn't move. It was Krim who used Shadow Bind on her. But as Krim walked up to the leader, the moonlight casted their shadows on the ground, and Krim noticed that, behind her, from above, there was another mysterious cloaked player, standing on the cliff above. Who the hell are you? Krim asked. Back up? Looking at the mysterious player, Krim thought to herself, who the heck is that? And what's with that light? Are those wings made of fire? This ominous aura, is it a ghost or is it a player? Maybe one of their allies? On the other hand, the PK leader looked at the newcomer and immediately recognized him. That man, he's the guildmaster of Nord Glacier. Why the hell is he here? Whatever. This is a golden opportunity. They call him the single strongest player in the current meta. If I can get the headhunter to take him on, that little shit will absolutely lose. I hate to admit it, but the headhunter is strong. But because I've fought that man, I know. His skill is in an entirely different league from the headhunters. I don't care anymore if I die. There's no stopping that, but I'll be bringing you down with me. The leader then called out to the person, telling him to come down, saying that he must be bored. Seeing this, Krim wondered if the man was really their reinforcement. Meanwhile, the man jumped off the cliff, falling down to where Krim was. As he landed on the ground, the sheer force shattered the whole platform, catching Krim off guard.
As the ground broke, it revealed an underground mining tunnel, and the man had taken the PK leader and escaped through that route. So there's an escape route just like that? Krim thought. Was he trying to do that? It didn't feel like he was attacking that spot. It's more like he was just trying to land. Don't tell me he did this with just his body weight. Wings of flame? Unbelievable weight? Are they from a skill or a racial trait? Whatever, that's not important right now. Should I chase after him? I can't see a thing with this cloud of dust, though, and not only that, I barely have any HP left. It'll be all over if he attacks me the moment I go down there. But if I am going down there, it'd have to be before this dust settles. If push comes to shove, couldn't I hide myself in it? Thinking about it, Krim smiled. This is a battle of speed. This isn't the time for me to be hesitating. Krim then jumped down the route. As she landed, she quickly put her guard up, ready for both surprise attacks and traps. Just then, a voice called out. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt. Who could have known there was an underground tunnel right there? Hearing this, Krim turned around. He's just carelessly talking. No way I'd trust the words of some rando. As the dust cleared, Krim saw the man standing in front of her. Behind him, there was the PK leader. She laughed, thanking him for helping her escape, as she had already got on a minecraft. Sayonara, dumbass, the leader teased. Congrats on winning our match. Feel free to celebrate. As she pushed the throttle, she said, Also, that fella there wants to fight you. Give it a shot if you dare. Ha ha. Krim was furious. He asked if the man was truly one of the PK team's allies. But the man then introduced himself. My name is Saul Leon. I hold the role of Guildmaster for the Nord Glacier. Hearing this, Krim immediately recognized the name of the first-ranked guild. Leon then explained, initially he had come here to take care of the PK guild, but to be able to meet such an interesting player like Krim, he couldn't let go of that miracle. Krim then asked if Leon wanted the fight, saying this wasn't the best time for it. But to her surprise, Leon said he would make it quick. He then stabbed himself in the stomach, rapidly depleting his own HP bar, and just when it was about to reach 0, he stopped, making it a sudden death match. Leon then continued, If you don't want to, then be on your way. Go ahead and chase after her, I won't stop you. But truly, the scent of your brimming spirits is such an intoxicating aroma. In any case, I wonder if you'll choose me. Looking at him, Krim couldn't help but smile. She wanted the smoke. Meanwhile, back to Frey's group, they finally made it back to the shrine. Frey then said the reason they came here was to get the shrine buff, while Freya noted who could have guessed there'd be a gimmick like that. The three of them start praying. Freya wished they would be safe and sound, while Hinagiku wished for the PK player to explode, and Frey wished to loot rare items from them. Once they'd finished praying, the Oni finally revealed that he didn't even teach them how to pray, and they were all doing it wrong. Hearing this, the three scoffed, urging the Oni to just get to the point, while the Oni clarified that he didn't mean to leave them hanging. Just then they noticed the voice of the PK players looking for them. With no time to pray, Frey told the others to hide inside the shrine, but Freya and Hinagiku were hesitant with doing such a cursed thing. As they got inside, the shrine was filled with weird items. It actually looked cursed. While they were still musing over different things in the shrine, Frey remembered what they were supposed to do. He urged them to stay quiet. Freya also panicked and told them to stay quiet, though she was the loudest one. After that, as they peeked through the door, there were 3 PK players, along with the monsters they lured with. Freya was worried if they would find her, while Hinagiku asked while she was still wearing the hat she found inside the shrine, to which Freya said because it was cute. After locking the door, Hinagiku told Freya to hide with her under a crate, to which Freya thought that it was like they were playing Metal Gear. Yes, you got that right, Metal Gear Rising. Frey then scoffed, telling everyone to stay quiet. Outside, the 2 crossbowmen were looking for them. They decided to check out the shrine, but as the girl tried to open the door, it didn't open, and she thought it was broken. She tried to peek into the shrine, but as Frey's group was hiding in a blind spot, the girl couldn't see anything off. But just as Frey was relieved the plan worked, the other crossbowman with a mask asked, Wait, you didn't touch anything on the door aside from the handle, did you? Yeah. Hearing this, the masked crossbowman looked at the door with his equipment and said, Several points on the door are still warm. They're inside. Hearing this, Frey immediately told everyone to back off the door. He finally figured out why the PK players were able to track them. The masked crossbowman was a gnome, and in this game, this race had the ability to see with infrared vision, and he must have noticed the residual heat they left when touching the door. The PK players then said, Come out already, damn it, you're not safe anymore, especially with this thin-ass door. Hearing this, Frey was worried. What should we do? They're going to break in, and there's a ton of monsters outside. If the door is destroyed, they'll all flood in. We'd die instantly. But the Oni assured her the shrine wouldn't be destroyed that easily, as it was protected by sacred power. Hearing this, Frey recognized that it was a sacred element field. In Duo, there's a concept of elements with weakness and counter-elements, yada yada yada, basically wind, fire, water, shits like that. And a sacred element field could weaken the monsters entering it. Even if they do get in, our team might be able to manage somehow. Just then, the girl outside called in, "Listen up, fuckwords. Stop being such damn scaredy cats. All you've been doing this whole time is just running away. If you like running so much, why don't you just go fuck off and play some VR sports game? I guess maybe you've lived your whole life just running and running from everything because you're so goddamn weak, eh?" Hearing this, Frey was genuinely pissed off. He fired back a flurry of insults. "Well, look at you being so cocky when you'd have no chance of winning without an entire monster train helping out. You're just a group of cowardly wimps picking on players still wearing start gear. When are you all going to wake up from this collective delusion in which you think that you're actually strong? Out of all of the bottom-of-the-barrel trash guilds out there, you all are the most pathetically shitty there is." The two of them were determined to make each other cry with their online toxicity. It got to a point where Hinagiku was shivering. Seeing this, Freya urged Frey to stop. Hearing this, Frey looked at Hinagiku and he could see that she was trembling in fear. As a kid, she wasn't used to this kind of online toxicity. Freya then continued, "You know, Frey, back when I was little, after playing games, I would sometimes get hate messages from my opponents. Even though it's only text on a screen, it's really seriously scary. To have hate directed at you, it's enough to make you want to quit playing games altogether. It's normal to be scared when an adult gets angry with you. I think she's just put up with it until now, even though she was scared. If things continue like this and Hinagiku-chan logs out, she just might never log in again, so..." Freya then tried to cheer Hinagiku up. Hearing this, Hinagiku said that back then she had friends she played with in another game, but evil adults PK'd them and they quit. Hearing this, Frey admitted he got a little too fired up back there. Hinagiku then continued, "Mother, she always says it. If Hinagiku runs into any PKers, don't hesitate. Kill them. Exterminate them all, without a shred of mercy, like the worthless ticks that they are," she said as she gently stroked her fingers along the blade, with a bloodthirsty gaze on her. Turns out she wasn't affected by the negativity at all. In fact, she might be the worst out of all of them, and Freya tried her best to not let that ominous thought get to her. Frey and Freya were shocked, but they've got more important things to worry about. The door wouldn't hold for long. Freya began praying that the sacred field would kill all the monsters, while Frey told her that wasn't how element fields work. Just then, Hinagiku asked if her skills would be useful. Hearing this, Frey said he couldn't think of any beastman skills that would help them in this situation, to which Hinagiku said revealed the truth, saying that she wasn't a beastman. Outside, the PK players were trying to break the door. Just then, the door collapsed on them, and as Hinagiku jumped out of the shrine, her body was covered in burning flame, as she immediately rushed the halberdier, striking him down. "All 3 of your heads," she said. "Hinagiku will serve them as offerings to this shrine."
As Hinagiku stood against the halberdier, the other PK players noticed her being covered in bluish flame, and they were confused. Just then, the masked man urged the girl to take this opportunity and kill those who were still in the shrine. Though, as the masked man looked at Hinagiku, he thought, but still, what's with this effect of being covered in flames? According to my infrared vision, she's literally on fire. She's even taking recoil damage. In return for constantly being damaged, is she getting buffed? The others haven't left the shrine yet. Did their vanguard panic? Is it just a reckless charge? Maybe not. I can't discard the possibility they're using her as bait. Why else would they send out some kid for a solo attack? Just then, the girl tried to call out to him, asking if he was lost in thought. She warned him the fray was aimed at him. But as the masked man looked at Frey, he didn't notice any burst of energy or heat from him, and he thought that the girl was wasting his time. But the girl insisted, telling him to turn off his infrared vision. Turns out, Frey was using water magic. Since he knew the masked man wouldn't realize it right away, it bought him just enough time to fire off the shots, taking the masked man out. Noticing the situation was becoming bad for them, the girl tried to keep calm. She decided to follow the basics of PvP and focused on taking down Hinagiku, who was fighting the halberdier, making it a 2v1 first. But as she turned to them, she was horrified. Before her was the scene of Hinagiku pulling out her katana from the halberdier's chest as his HP completely depleted. "You're shitting me," the girl said. "Killed by that twerp? How?" Seeing this, the masked man, having sustained damage, was still able to act. He urged her not to panic. All the monsters would aggro onto Hinagiku, so they decided to ignore her while taking out the Oni, the only one that wasn't targeted first. The two crossbowmen then manifested their main weapons. It seemed the crossbows were their secondary. The girl then grinned, asking if she got them off guard with her main weapon, but to her surprise, the Oni immediately retreated back to the shrine, and they decided to chase after the Oni. But as they ran after the Oni, along with the monsters targeting Hinagiku, all of them ended up gathered into one spot. It was all Frey's plan. Hinagiku reeled in the monsters, and the Oni baited the PKs. Making a mob train was their specialty, right? And so, now we're the ones making a train out of them. Earlier, when Hinagiku was explaining her true origin to them, she was a silver fox, which was more human-like compared to regular beastmen. And with the rare race also come a unique skill, a sacred element skill named self-destruct, though she hadn't used it again after the first time, which resulted in her dying. What the skill does is basically, as soon as Hinagiku's skill is activated, she'll begin taking a ton of recoil damage. But she'll be imbued with both sacred and flame elements. Not that, but also a buff to attacks against demons. Combine that with the Shrine Element Field, which weakened the monsters, Hinagiku is completely unstoppable now. As Hinagiku intensified her blue flame, the PK players knew they were done for, and in one swift motion, Hinagiku used her battle art, taking all of them out in one strike. After the battle, they high-fived in celebration. Hinagiku was surprised at the power she possessed, though it was really gimmicky, as usual for unique skill. Frey then asked if Krim was okay, to which they assured her. After all, it was Krim they were talking about. After that, as they came back to the cliff, they tried to find Krim, but there was no sign of her. Hinagiku was told that maybe she was kidnapped, and both her and Frey began imagining how the kidnapper treated Krim, though Hinagiku imagined a normal one, while Frey was thinking about how Krim was suggestively taken advantage of. Just then, Frey noticed the big hole that led to the underground mine, and Hinagiku said she could smell Krim's scent from down there. They decided to jump down to find Krim, saying they should still be careful as it might be the enemy's luring skill. But as they followed through the route, Frey noticed countless battle scars scattering through the tunnel, wondering if the PK woman leader used a heavy weapon. Just then, they noticed Krim and immediately rushed to her. As Krim laid on the ground, she said she was glad that Frey and the others won, while Frey asked her, "Krim, don't tell me, you lost?" Earlier, Krim was fighting against Leon in a fight where both sides were on critical HP. Whoever gets the first hit in will be the winner, a sudden death match, so to speak. As Leon struck down on Krim, she blocked it, though she thought to herself, that sword swing was humongous, and yet he didn't leave any opening for a counter. And the weight of his attack, he's a typical power build. Krim then asked if making such bold attacks was a good idea for a sudden death match, but Leon said that one who never commits will never win. Leon then thrust his sword at Krim. The sheer size of his attack range is a huge issue. No wonder such a large swing left no openings. Compared to Krim, Leon starts up his attacks way sooner. With his overwhelmingly large reach from his tall stature and longsword, by swinging earlier from a longer range, it's able to compensate for the slowness of his heavy body. So, by keeping his opponents at an intermediate range, he's able to totally dominate them, which means Krim's attack won't reach. Leon then followed with another powerful attack. The destructive power is ridiculous.
It seemed he's capitalizing on all of the centrifugal force from both his weight and reach. The attack cut through rocks like bananas, sending Krim flying. This is bad. I can't back off while I'm midair. Gotcha, Leon said as he closed the distance and fired off another attack, but Krim somehow blocked it and backed off, which surprised him.
Well, this is a surprise, Leon said. In this world, without any battle arts, without any assistance from the game, there's someone who's able to dual wield. Hearing this, Krim said, using only one weapon against you, it just doesn't feel right. That's why it's time for me to get serious.
Krim then thought to herself, reach, weight, centrifugal force. I'll be falling behind if I naively fight him right in his ideal spacing. I'll just have to get up close and personal if that's the case. Krim then rapidly closed the distance, and both of them exchanged a flurry of attacks. As their weapons clashed, Krim joked that even though Leon is strong mid-range, his close combat was a bit lacking. Hearing this, Leon smiled, complimenting Krim for getting that much of a read on him on their first meeting, but he wasn't cornered yet. Just then, Leon's sword broke, and Krim wanted to immediately seize the opportunity, but suddenly, Leon grabbed the Minecraft rails on the ground and genuinely ripped it off with his bare strength, upsetting Krim's footing. No way! Krim was surprised. Hold up, what the hell's with this guy? The Minecraft tracks? But while Krim was still speechless seeing such a crazy move, Leon's fist had already come right at her face. Bam! Leon delivered a downright diabolical uppercut, sending Krim flying. As Krim tumbled on the ground, she wasn't dead yet, but he was dazed from the attack. Walking up to her, Leon said, I'll stop being greedy. With how much HP you had left, I was expecting that punch to one-shot you. In that case, maybe you have a high level of self-healing. Well, anyways, I guess I won. Hearing this, Krim asked if Leon was going to finish her off, but Leon refused, saying for a sudden death match he had already won. He then asked if Krim would be participating in the guild rank battle. This time, both of them held back due to their circumstances, but promised there will be a rematch. Krim also said that next time she wouldn't lose. It won't be long until the event begins. I'm going to be even stronger next time. Hopefully the same will be for you. When it comes, at that time, let us fight in our top conditions. All of it. Use everything you have. Back to the present, as Krim sat on the deformed railway, she explained what happened. Krim then asked how things went on the other side, to which Frey said that they didn't get any loot, sadly. Well, Krim could figure it out since it seemed the leader was in charge of everything. Hinagiku also said that next time the leader will be very dead, which shocked Krim. Still, Frey said that it was fun enough to bask in the glow of victory. Freya was also relieved after being constantly on edge. Just then, from a distance, a Minecraft was approaching. Huh? Well, look who that is. The PK leader. It seemed it was a closed track and she ended up circling back where they were.